Welcome to Audio Summary, where we bring the world's greatest books to life in quick and captivating audiobook summaries. Join us to discover the wisdom, ideas, and stories that have shaped history in bite-sized insights. All for free. Let's start.
The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Preface. The pursuit of power, that magnetic force driving our actions, finds itself entwined in a paradox. Yearning for control, we are careful not to reveal our hunger. Overt displays are risky in a world where subtlety is prized. This dance of power mirrors the cunning dynamics of ancient aristocratic courts, where courtiers navigated treacherous paths, serving masters while dodging rivals' notice. The court, ostensibly the pinnacle of sophistication, abhorred overt displays of power. Instead, courtiers wielded influence with elegance, concealing their maneuvers beneath charming facades. Their success lay in mastering indirection, employing seduction, charm, and strategic planning to outwit opponents in the civilized war. Today, a similar paradox persists. Our world touts fairness but harbors the same primal emotions: greed, envy, lust, and hatred. Outwardly, we champion equality and decency, yet beneath the surface, we crave influence. Those who claim to eschew power often excel in subtle manipulation, cloaking their moves in moral superiority. Efforts to evade this power game render one powerless and miserable. Mastery in this game, paradoxically, enhances one's relationships and character. By mastering the arts of indirection, one becomes indispensable, subtly bending others to their will without detection. Achieving power demands a unique perspective, a view unclouded by emotions, especially anger or blind affection. Mastery necessitates a Janus-like approach, looking backward to learn and forward to plan. Self-reflection becomes a tool, extracting lessons from past mistakes to break repetitive patterns. The acquisition of power is an aesthetic pleasure, requiring mastery in deception, fluidity in appearances, and most importantly, patience. Power, inherently immoral, demands seeing circumstances devoid of moral judgment. It's a game, a sophisticated one, where judgments are based on actions and effects, not intentions. Understanding people and their hidden motives is the ultimate key to power. Yet, this understanding mustn't discriminate, trust no one completely, and study everyone, even friends. The indirect route to power, concealing cunning behind a facade of decency, is the ultimate art form. The 48 Laws of Power distills wisdom from history's strategic minds. It serves as a guide to power's observances and transgressions, offering timeless lessons applicable in diverse situations. Whether for personal growth, problem-solving, or sheer entertainment, the book provides a roadmap through the labyrinth of power, a serious pursuit deserving careful consideration rather than frivolity. Law 1. Never outshine the master. In the quest to impress those in higher positions, caution is key. Displaying your talents too prominently can backfire, creating fear or insecurity instead of admiration. The art lies in making your superiors feel superior, enhancing their brilliance without overshadowing them. This approach propels you to greater power and influence. Nicolas Fouquet, Louis XIV's finance minister, learned this the hard way. Despite his lavish party to honor the king, it sparked Louis's insecurity rather than admiration. Fouquet's downfall stemmed from inadvertently stealing Louis's spotlight, triggering the king's vanity and leading to his imprisonment. Contrast this with Galileo's approach. Instead of sharing his discoveries among various patrons, he focused solely on the Medicis, linking their greatness to his cosmic discoveries. By aligning them with celestial forces, he magnified their glory and secured a stable position. The key takeaway: outshining your master is a perilous misstep. Superiors desire security and to be perceived as superior. Even if they appreciate your talents, it's precarious. Instead, subtly elevate your master. Make them appear more intelligent, creative, or charming than you. Discreet flattery and attributing your ideas to them enhance their image, ensuring you remain in control while fostering their radiance. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. In navigating relationships, the advice is clear. Tread cautiously among friends. They're prone to envy, quick to betrayal, and often morph into tyrants. Oddly, a former foe can surpass a friend in loyalty due to the need to prove themselves. The danger doesn't lie with enemies but with friendships themselves. In fact, if you lack enemies, consider creating them. The tale of Michael III of the Byzantine Empire epitomizes this cautionary wisdom. He chose his friend Basilius to be his chief advisor, believing in gratitude for past favors. Yet, his once loyal friend ultimately plotted his murder, ascending to power after a vicious betrayal. Michael's misplaced trust in a friend blinded him to the impending threat, leading to his downfall. Contrastingly, Emperor Sung of ancient China understood the value of managing enemies. Facing a precarious situation upon ascending to power, Sung didn't rely on friends but strategically disarmed potential foes. He gifted powerful generals with wealth and safety, removing their motivation for betrayal. By astutely utilizing enemies, he turned them into loyal allies, securing his reign and ending the cycle of coups and violence that plagued his predecessors. The lesson extends beyond historical anecdotes. Hiring friends often exposes hidden flaws, eroding the bonds of friendship with the weight of undue favor. Ingratitude, a long-standing trait, gradually seeps in, corroding the relationship. Skill and competence supersede friendly feelings when it comes to efficient collaboration. The distance maintained in working relationships prevents the erosion of power due to personal biases. The wisdom in managing enemies shines through various historical narratives. Talleyrand leveraged his former adversary Fouché for their mutual benefit, establishing a fruitful collaboration. Mao Zedong's strategy of constant conflict ensured growth, defining his cause while harnessing opposition for political strength. However, occasional reversals are pragmatic. Friends, when aware of the risks and dangers, can be valuable assets in executing sensitive tasks or becoming convenient scapegoats. Yet, these alliances should never compromise vigilance, as emotions like envy and ingratitude can swiftly transform friends into adversaries. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. The essence of strategic deception lies in cloaking your true intentions, keeping others off balance, and shrouding your motives in obscurity. By never unveiling the purpose behind your actions, you render them defenseless and unable to foresee your moves. This strategy is a delicate art, one that involves decoying objects of desire and scattering red herrings to divert attention from your true goals. One pivotal aspect involves the art of seduction and manipulation, a craft mastered by individuals like Ninon de L'Enclos. In her mentoring of a young marquis pursuing a countess, she artfully orchestrated a sequence of steps, guiding him through calculated maneuvers. Her strategy involved creating emotional confusion in the countess, first by instigating distance, then evoking jealousy, and finally by strategically disappearing and reappearing unexpectedly. Ninon's approach aligned with the essence of seduction, the power of suggestion and the thrill of being led astray. The Countess, initially intrigued by the game, relished the uncertainty and emotional tumult. However, when the Marquis abruptly declared his love, the facade shattered. His revealed intention of seduction laid bare the manipulation, transforming what was once charming into something conniving and distasteful. Similarly, Otto von Bismarck, the astute statesman, employed calculated deceit to influence political decisions. During a critical juncture in 1850, despite his fervor for Prussian might, he vocally opposed war, shocking his colleagues and even praising the adversary, Austria. This stratagem was a facade, a clever ruse to manipulate perceptions and align himself with the peace-seeking faction. His insincere stance not only averted an imminent war, but also garnered him favor and eventual leadership. The core principle underlying such masterful manipulation is the concealment of intentions. By strategically misleading others, be it in romance, politics, or war, one can wield power through uncertainty and misdirection. It involves skillfully leveraging false sincerity, manipulating perceptions, and strategically deploying decoys to redirect attention. In essence, the art of concealing intentions is a powerful tool. Through this crafty orchestration of appearances, individuals can navigate situations, achieve their objectives, and maintain an upper hand. This approach leverages human psychology, exploiting the natural tendency to trust appearances while covertly concealing true motives. It's not about being dishonest, but rather about strategically revealing only what serves your purpose and concealing the rest, utilizing the power of suggestion and ambiguity to retain control. Deception, a timeless strategy, often requires a veil of smoke to divert attention from your true motives. Much like an inscrutable poker face, a bland facade serves as the perfect smokescreen, concealing intentions behind a veneer of comfort and familiarity. Leading someone down a familiar path ensures they remain oblivious as you guide them into your trap. In 1910, Sam Giesel, having sold his business for a fortune, yearned for the thrill of deal-making. Joseph Weil, a cunning young man, approached Giesel seeking to buy an apartment. Weil spun a tale about his uncle's vendetta against wealthy financiers, planning to sell a lodge at a low price and profit later. Entranced by the idea, Giesel insisted on being part of the scheme, investing $35,000 in cash. En route to finalize the deal, distractions abounded: a paunchy George Gross shadowboxing, discussions with Weil's uncle, and a fateful encounter with the financiers. An impulsive bet led to an unforeseen tragedy. Gross, seemingly killed, was part of a meticulously orchestrated con. Weil, aka the Yellow Kid, orchestrated the entire scam, leaving Giesel bewildered and out $35,000. The Yellow Kid's brilliance lay in diverting Giesel's attention. By engrossing him in the lodge sale, Weil masked the impending boxing match, using distraction to execute a flawless swindle. Giesel's focus on the deal blinded him to Gross's incongruities, demonstrating the power of a well-crafted smokescreen. In Ethiopia, Haile Selassie sought unification, summoning warlords to recognize him. Djazmak Bauka, skeptical of Selassie's motives, planned to outmaneuver him. Expecting a trap at a banquet, Bauka brought 600 armed soldiers. Selassie's courteous reception and deference to Bauka hinted at submission, yet concealed his real intent. During the banquet, Selassie strategically honored Bauka, disarming the warlord with charm. While Bauka plotted his ascendancy, Selassie's allies surreptitiously bought Bauka's soldiers' weapons. Left powerless and outmaneuvered, Bauka surrendered, deceived by Selassie's cunning smokescreen. Selassie's deception lay in leveraging Bauka's wariness. Appearing subservient, Selassie obscured his true intentions, manipulating Bauka's suspicions against him. The smokescreen veiled Selassie's actions, leaving Bauka defenseless. Deceivers wield the inconspicuous, enveloping their targets in the mundane to mask their schemes. Once attention is diverted with familiarity, deception thrives unnoticed. The mundane, like facial expressions, conceals intricate ploys, and history's powerful figures have adeptly wielded this art. Joseph Devine used a noble gesture to manage his clients' art overflow, deflecting attention from their motives. Jay Gould orchestrated a deceptive pattern, leading Western Union astray by exploiting their expectations. Blending in with a group camouflages intentions, amplifying the effectiveness of a smokescreen. However, established reputations for deception can unravel even the most intricate smokescreens. Admitting deception, as P.T. Barnum did, can paradoxically maintain one's deceitful power. Colorful, conspicuous gestures divert attention but must be used judiciously to avoid wearing thin. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. When attempting to impress with words, verbosity can diminish your authority and control. Elusive and enigmatic language can elevate banal thoughts, shrouding them in originality. Those in power often wield influence through brevity, as excessive speech heightens the risk of folly. Gnaeus Marcius, known as Coriolanus, transitioned from revered military hero to a political aspirant in ancient Rome. Despite a stirring display of scars symbolizing valor, his verbose, arrogant speeches shattered the myth of his greatness, causing public disillusionment. His downfall stemmed from excessive words revealing insecurity, undermining the powerful image he once held. Louis XIV, contrastingly, mastered the art of silence, using few words to maintain an air of mystery and authority. His deliberate reticence ensured others revealed their thoughts, rendering him inscrutable and in control. Strategic restraint in speech cultivates power. Controlled responses unnerve others, compelling them to fill the void with revealing comments. Andy Warhol and Marcel Duchamp demonstrated this by letting ambiguity foster interpretations, augmenting their artistic worth. Yet, excessive speech can serve as a deceptive smokescreen. Lengthy discourse can distract and disarm, portraying weakness to mask manipulation, contradicting the power of silence. Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Reputation serves as the linchpin of power, capable of intimidation and triumph. Its erosion leaves one exposed, vulnerable to attacks from all sides. Establish an impregnable reputation, anticipating and neutralizing potential threats. Moreover, learn to dismantle adversaries by tarnishing their reputations, allowing public opinion to condemn them. In ancient China's War of the Three Kingdoms, the renowned general Zhuge Liang faced a seemingly insurmountable situation against an encroaching enemy force led by Sima Yi. Surrounded by a mere 100 soldiers, Liang's response defied conventional wisdom. He barred the town gates, disguised himself in Taoist robes atop the city wall, strummed a lute, and chanted. Despite the enemy's overwhelming numbers, Yi hesitated and ultimately retreated, highlighting the immense power of reputation. Liang, known as the Sleeping Dragon, had meticulously crafted a reputation for cunning and unpredictability, instilling fear and subduing enemies without combat. P.T. Barnum, striving to cement his status as a premier showman in 1841, faced a formidable obstacle, a lack of funds to purchase the American Museum. His thwarted acquisition led to a relentless assault on the reputation of Peale's Museum, Barnum's competitor. By orchestrating a slanderous campaign against Peale's financial stability, Barnum precipitated a stock decline, compelling the American Museum's owners to sell to him. Barnum's tactical reputation assault decimated Peale's museum's standing, solidifying his own image as a showman extraordinaire. The essence of reputation lies in perception. Even close acquaintances retain hidden depths, leaving judgments grounded in appearances. Thus, meticulously construct and safeguard your reputation. Its shielding influence obscures your true nature, offering control over external opinions. A reputation, akin to magic, can magnify strengths or drive people away, rendering deeds either brilliant or condemnable. In shaping a reputation, focus on a singular outstanding quality, whether honesty, efficiency, or allure. Amplify this quality subtly, allowing its dissemination to kindle curiosity and discussion. A well-established reputation augments presence, commanding respect or fear before you even speak. However, reputation's fragility demands vigilance. Anticipate attacks, yet avoid defensiveness in countering slanderous assaults. Employ strategies like sowing doubts about adversaries, as Barnum did, to unsettle rivals and force defensive missteps. If reputation damage is irreparable, leverage association with individuals of impeccable standing to refurbish your own. Reputation, once solidified, demands finesse in attack. Ridicule and satire serve as subtler tools, undermining adversaries while enhancing your charming persona. Overzealous attacks can backfire, drawing attention to vengefulness rather than damaging an opponent's image. Edison's ruthless campaign against Tesla, culminating in cruel animal electrocutions, damaged his own reputation more than his rivals. Law 6. Court attention at all cost. In life, appearances dictate judgment, with the unseen often rendered insignificant. To avoid obscurity, stand out boldly. Be conspicuous at any expense, drawing attention magnetically by appearing larger, more colorful, and enigmatic compared to the ordinary masses. Command notice by crafting an unforgettable, perhaps controversial persona. invites scandal to shine brightly amidst the crowd. Any attention, even through infamy, yields power. Being slandered or attacked is preferable to being ignored. P.T. Barnum, the 19th century showman, grasped the power of attention through unforgettable incidents. Once mistaken for a murder suspect, he directed an angry mob to a circus, saved by a practical joke orchestrated by his boss, Aaron Turner. Turner's motive, success through notoriety, profoundly impacted Barnum's approach. Barnum's American Museum journeyed on attention-grabbing exploits. Utilizing a beggar to lay bricks across town, drawing crowds, he displayed horrendous musicians to entice people into the museum, luring them away from the noise. He showcased Joyce Heth, claiming her to be George Washington's nurse, perpetuating curiosity through rumors of her being a mechanical fraud. Acquiring a purported mermaid carcass, Barnum orchestrated a nationwide sensation around mermaids, drawing record crowds. His European tour with General Tom Thumb garnered immense attention, even securing a private audience with Queen Victoria despite ridicule from the English press. Barnum's principle: a crowd validates legitimacy. Uniqueness invites attention, fostering crowds. Maintaining attention, critical for success, transcends the quality of attention. Barnum welcomed personal attacks, knowing any attention, positive or negative, bolstered success. Master the art of attracting attention, linking your name to a unique persona or characteristic. Controversy isn't adverse, notoriety fosters perpetual attention. Eccentricity, like the Duc de Luzon's insolence, captivates and secures presence. To thrive, embrace qualities setting you apart, and court scandal. All professions abide by this rule. Like Edison's spectacular presentations, ensure visibility. Stirring public discussion secures your place, as Picasso understood, constantly challenging expectations to maintain attention. In an increasingly mundane world, enigmatic elements instantly seize attention. Never unveil all, retaining an air of mystery that elevates presence and instills anticipation. This mystique beguiles, seduces, and even unsettles, drawing everyone's gaze toward your next move. In 1905, whispers spread in Paris of an Oriental dancer, Mata Hari, who enchanted select audiences in a salon adorned with Indian relics. Draped in veils, she unveiled a startling attire, Indian jewels on a white brassiere, a sarong revealing and concealing in equal measure. Her unprecedented dance, seemingly in a trance, narrated Indian myths and Javanese tales, captivating Paris's elite and ambassadors from distant lands. Mata Hari's origins transformed with every interview. Dutch by birth, raised in Java, or an Indian upbringing, her tale varied endlessly. Journalists were captivated, likening her to an Indian goddess or a figure from literature, an inscrutable woman from the East. Performing publicly in August 1905 triggered a riot, elevating her to a cult status and inspiring imitations. Mata Hari's fame transcended Paris, touring Europe, hobnobbing with elites, enjoying independence rarely granted to women. However, as World War I neared its end, her arrest, trial, and execution as a German spy revealed her true identity, Margaretha Zell, from Friesland, Holland. Mata Hari's humble beginnings typified young aspirants flocking to Paris, often ending up destitute or in prostitution. Zell, however, aimed higher, leveraging her travel experiences in Java and Sumatra. Her allure didn't solely reside in her dance or appearance, but in the aura of mystery she meticulously crafted. Constantly changing, surprising, and mystifying her audience kept them perpetually intrigued and hungry for more. It wasn't her beauty or dancing skill, but her enigmatic presence that set her apart, earning her fame and wealth. Amidst a world stripped of mystery, the enigmatic allures, inviting multiple interpretations, stirring imaginations, it stands as an unsolvable puzzle, attracting attention and fascination. Mystery needn't be grandiose. Subtle, everyday mystery, from deliberate inconsistency to occasional ambiguity, captivates. Most are predictable, an open book, holding back, occasionally uttering cryptic phrases or behaving subtly odd, creates an aura of intrigue. Others magnify this aura by attempting to decipher the inscrutable. Artists and con artists recognize the allure of mystery. Count Victor Lustig, through odd behavior and peculiarities, drew attention effortlessly. People craved his company without realizing they were being duped. An air of mystery elevates the ordinary, making the mediocre seem profound. It transformed Mata Hari and lent an air of intrigue to Marcel Duchamp's work. By weaving mystery, one instills fear, captivating the audience. In dire situations, creating puzzling scenes unsettles opponents. Like Hannibal's torches on oxen, baffling spectacles create fear and confusion, altering the enemy's perception. When in power, moderating mystery prevents it from sliding into deceit. Lola Montez, in a bid for attention, defied social norms and was shunned by the elite. An excessive craving for attention signals insecurity, repelling power. Knowing when to draw attention and when to retreat is crucial. In the presence of authority, humility prevails. Never compete for the spotlight. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. In 1883, Nikola Tesla, a Serbian scientist, joined Continental Edison Company's European division. Charles Batchelor, a manager and friend of Thomas Edison, urged Tesla to seek fortune in America, providing a letter to Edison. The meeting marked the beginning of Tesla's struggles until his death. Edison, hiring Tesla immediately in New York, tasked him with enhancing Edison dynamos. Tesla proposed a complete redesign, promising $50,000 if successful. Despite delivering within a year, Edison reneged on the payment, citing American humor, offering a nominal raise. Tesla's passion for an alternating current (AC) system conflicted with Edison's direct current (DC) belief. Edison not only refused support but sabotaged Tesla. George Westinghouse, backing Tesla's research, offered funding and a royalty deal. Tesla's AC system, though patented under his name, was overshadowed by others claiming credit, associating the invention with Westinghouse. Later, financial troubles compelled Tesla to sell his patents to Westinghouse for a fraction of their value. Marconi, attributed with radio's invention, utilized Tesla's 1897 patent without recognition or compensation. Tesla declined the Edison Medal, criticizing the institute for neglecting his contributions. Tesla, disinterested in fame and riches, overlooked safeguarding credit for his inventions. Edison, a businessman, exploited ideas and talent, amassing recognition for inventions he didn't wholly create. The lesson: securing credit is crucial. Leveraging others' work is strategic. Edison's method, hiring talent for inventions, contrasts Tesla's isolation, leading to exploitation and impoverishment. The Balboa-Pizarro clash signifies the risk of sharing discoveries prematurely. Rubens exemplifies taking credit for others' work, creating an illusion of unparalleled prowess. To wield power, harness others' labor without losing credit. Borrow wisdom from the past, Newton's shoulders of giants enhancing your image as a genius. Utilize others' knowledge to bolster your capabilities. It's a power available to all. Sharing credit judiciously safeguards against appearing greedy or overshadowing superiors. Kissinger let Nixon claim credit for their diplomatic triumph, avoiding immediate limelight, preserving his long-term standing. Understanding when to share credit amplifies influence. Crediting superiors while exploiting subordinates' contributions is a strategic maneuver in the game of power. Law 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. In 1814, the Congress of Vienna became a stage where Europe's powers redrew Napoleon's fallen empire. Amidst the splendid balls and festivities, Napoleon's shadow loomed. Exiled to Elba instead of facing execution or distant exile, his presence unnerved Europe. Even on the isolated island, Napoleon's boldness unsettled many. The Austrians contemplated his assassination, while Russia's Tsar Alexander I threatened to unleash the monster. Talleyrand, Napoleon's former foreign minister, stood unruffled, seemingly privy to unknown truths. Meanwhile, Napoleon's life on Elba mocked his former grandeur. Despite being Elba's king, his court was a mockery. Unexpectedly, in broad daylight, he escaped aboard a ship, evading the British fleet. His return to France with a small army defied reason. The people embraced him, toppling the current king. Napoleon's 100-day rule faded into the harsh reality of a bankrupt France. At Waterloo, his final defeat sealed his fate. Exiled to St. Helena, hope for escape vanished. Behind Napoleon's escape lay a covert architect, Talleyrand. Disguised in support, he meticulously orchestrated Napoleon's downfall. Talleyrand baited Napoleon into a return, foreseeing France's exhaustion and a short-lived war. His mastery lay in baiting and manipulating Napoleon, leading to his eventual demise. Talleyrand's strategy illuminates a vital lesson. Real power doesn't lie in aggressive actions, but in calculated patience, trapping adversaries into exhausting themselves. By letting others come to you, you gain control. Talleyrand's finesse lay in this art, a lesson echoed through history, a timeless principle in the game of power. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. The allure of winning an argument often disguises a deeper truth. The resentment it stirs is more enduring than any fleeting victory. True power lies not in words but in actions, silently persuading others to align with your beliefs. Show, don't tell. In 131 BC, during a siege on Pergamus, Roman consul Publius Crassus ordered a mast for a battering ram, envisioning a smaller one. Despite the engineer's insistence on a better-suited mast, he obeyed, fearing the consul's wrath. When the smaller mast arrived, the consul's fury exploded, leading to the engineer's brutal demise. The engineer, confident in his expertise, typified the arguer, unaware of words' weight and the person he faced. His reasoning fell on deaf ears, his persistent argument sealed his fate. He failed to understand that winning through action, not words, held true power. In 1502 Florence, Michelangelo faced Soderini's misguided judgment of a statue's nose. Rather than argue, Michelangelo brought Soderini closer to the nose's perspective, letting him believe he'd improved it. The silent demonstration secured both their desires. Words are fickle, actions endure. Sir Christopher Wren, challenged to reinforce a stable structure, built superficial columns, a silent rebuke to baseless fears. The fake columns stood, a testament to Wren's strategy. Actions speak louder than words. The power of demonstration transcends argument. Khrushchev's response to a heckler showcased the visceral impact of lived experience. Symbols wield immense emotional weight. Kissinger's symbolic visit left an indelible impression on Israeli negotiations. In the pursuit or preservation of power, choose indirect routes judiciously. Direct argumentation often backfires. Conserve energy for meaningful actions. Yet in deception, argumentation can distract, concealing deceit. Count Lustig's con revealed the power of argument in deception. Faced with exposure, Lustig argued convincingly, diverting the sheriff's attention and ultimately securing his own escape. In essence, true power lies not in the fervor of argumentation, but in the silent eloquence of action. It's in the realm of demonstration that the most profound persuasion and lasting impact reside. Law 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Emotional states prove as contagious as diseases, capable of fatally affecting those nearby. In attempting to rescue a drowning individual, you might only hasten your own downfall. Unfortunate souls not only attract misfortune, but also draw it onto those around them. Instead, seek association with the joyful and fortunate. Marie Gilbert, known as Lola Montez, leveraged her allure as a dancer and later a courtesan, captivating Alexandre Duyarier in Paris. Her relationship with Duyarier fueled her resurgence in dancing, but his life spiraled into disaster. Despite his affection, misfortunes befell him, leading to a tragic end provoked by a party quarrel. In Munich, Lola's pursuit of King Ludwig of Bavaria involved enchanting Count Otto von Richburg. Her brazen tactics secured her an audience with the king, catapulting her to fame and influence. However, Her erratic behavior incited public outrage and political turmoil. The kingdom plunged into unrest until Ludwig banished her in 1848, triggering further chaos. Her life's trajectory depicted the infectious nature of her character. Lola's instability and self-created miseries ensnared those around her, leading to their ruin. She infected lives with turmoil, prompting Ludwig's abdication and causing irreparable damage. Infection isn't confined to gender. Lola Montez represented a type, an inwardly unstable character that radiates outward, fostering turmoil. Recognize these infectors and avoid engagement. Their turbulence draws disaster. Their influence corrodes. Choose associates wisely. Infectors' intense emotions subtly alter perceptions and actions. Cassius, driven by envy, infected Brutus with his bitterness against Caesar, triggering a tragic conspiracy. Quarantine such influences early, judge by actions, not excuses. On the flip side, individuals radiating happiness and success prove infectious in positive ways. Talleyrand's grace and charm influenced Napoleon, softening his rough edges. Align with those embodying positive traits, they elevate, enrich, and transform. The law stands firm, unyielding to reversal. Associating with infectors of misery leads to ruin. Aligning with the fortunate breeds power and prosperity. Embrace this law or risk its dire consequences. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. Maintaining independence hinges on being indispensable. The more reliance others place upon you, the greater your freedom. To tether people to your prosperity and happiness ensures your security. Never empower them enough to operate without you. In the Middle Ages, an unnamed soldier saved Siena but faced a dire fate, revered as a saint after his execution. Similarly, the Count of Carmagnola, a valiant mercenary, met a tragic end for growing impudent and assuming his indispensability. Condottieri in Renaissance Italy faced dismissal or worse despite their victories. Replaceability led to their downfall. The lesson: render yourself irreplaceable to escape a similar fate. Otto von Bismarck, a Prussian politician, understood the power of dependency. Aligning with weak rulers or masters made him indispensable. He manipulated the king's insecurities to amass control, transforming from an ally into a decision-maker. Bismarck's skill lay in creating dependencies, seizing control without overt coercion. By intertwining destinies, he secured his position. This model applies universally. Power flourishes in relationships of dependence. True power lies in making others reliant on you. Even Harry Cohn, a staunch Republican, protected a communist screenwriter due to his association with a star actor. Such relationships are invaluable, granting leverage over masters. Henry Kissinger survived in Nixon's administration by becoming indispensable across various departments. His extensive power rested on interdependencies, making his removal a risk. Another tactic involves secret intelligence, wielding information to tether fates. Yet, such power breeds insecurity, lacking peace of mind. Dependency doesn't ensure love, it instills fear, controllable compared to love's capriciousness. Relying on fear ensures compliance. Independence, sought by monopolistic leaders like J.P. Morgan, isolates and often leads to ruin. Interdependence proves more viable. Being mutually reliant secures power without overwhelming pressure. This law stands unyielding. The reversal, seeking absolute independence, invites isolation and eventual ruin. Mutual dependence remains the safest and most fruitful strategy. Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. A solitary, genuine act outweighs numerous deceitful ones. Candid displays of honesty and generosity disarm even the most suspicious. Once you breach their defenses with selective honesty, manipulation becomes effortless. A timely gift, a Trojan horse, serves the same agenda. In 1926, Count Victor Lustig, renowned for his audacity and understanding of human psychology, approached Al Capone. He pledged to double Capone's $50,000 but made no effort to fulfill it. Upon returning the money, Lustig claimed failure. Capone, bewildered by Lustig's unusual honesty, rewarded him with $5,000, the conman's true target. Lustig's strategy involved disarming Capone's mistrust through unexpected sincerity. A con artist exploits conflicting emotions, easily distracting and deceiving. Employ this tactic even on cynical personalities. A well-timed display of honesty or generosity can win over even the most ruthless figures. Distraction is key to deception. Acts of kindness or honesty disarm suspicion, making people more receptive. Giving before taking softens resistance, rendering future requests more acceptable. Initiate selective honesty early on. First impressions endure, offering maneuverability. A reputation for honesty, built on a series of small acts, is hard to shake. Jay Gould, a distrustful multimillionaire, fell victim to Lord John Gordon. Gordon's initial honesty, ignoring clues of deceit until substantial loss. Establishing a reputation for honesty demands consistency. A gesture of honesty or generosity, like Duke Wu's unexpected act, disarmed the wary and influenced the surrender of Hu. Kindness, generosity, or honesty, strategically employed, weakens even the staunchest adversaries. They corrode the will to resist, breaking down defenses effectively. However, exercise caution with emotional tactics. Insincere gestures breed intense hatred if exposed. In cases of deep-rooted deceit, sudden honesty arouses suspicion. In these instances, embrace a roguish persona to maintain credibility. Lustig's feigned dishonesty earned trust when honesty raised suspicion. Talleyrand's reputation for deception allowed him to skillfully mask genuine deceit. Adaptability is key. Sometimes overt deception camouflages true intentions, even earning admiration for the honesty within deceit. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude. In seeking aid from allies, avoid reminding them of past favors. They may dismiss you. Instead, highlight mutual benefits. Castruccio Castracani, rising to power through deceit, faced betrayal from the Paggios. Stefano di Paggio's plea for mercy based on past generosity backfired, leading to the family's execution. Stefano's error lay in invoking past debts, disregarding Castruccio's self-interest. Castruccio's character relied on force and personal gain. Even in subduing the rebellion, Stefano failed by not emphasizing potential future contributions or offering wealth. Corcyra's pragmatic appeal to Athens, admitting their lack of past aid but offering mutual interests, swayed the Athenians against Corinth's emotional plea based on past favors. The Athenians prioritized future gains over past alliances. Understanding others' psychology is vital. Genghis Khan spared Kafeng due to Yelu Chutsai's manipulation, appealing to Khan's greed, not mercy or culture. Appealing to self-interest moves people. Discern their needs, erasing personal biases. However, not all respond to this approach. Some seek the chance to display charity and benevolence. Recognize individuals' inclinations. Some prefer public acts of kindness, others prioritize displaying generosity. Tailor your appeals to suit their preferences, understanding their motivations beyond mere self-interest. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Gaining insight into your adversaries is crucial. Employ spies or adopt the role yourself. In social settings, learn to subtly probe, using indirect inquiries to uncover weaknesses and intentions. No moment lacks the opportunity for adept espionage. In the pursuit of power, Joseph Devine, the eminent art dealer, sought to win over Andrew Mellon, a prized client he had long coveted. Despite Mellon's aversion to meeting Devine, the shrewd dealer meticulously gathered intelligence for years. By surreptitiously enlisting Mellon's staff, Devine acquired in-depth knowledge of Mellon's preferences, routines, and fears, gaining an intimate understanding rivaling even that of Mellon's wife. The pivotal moment arrived during Mellon's London visit. Devine, lodging a floor beneath Mellon, capitalized on his valet's acquaintance with Mellon's valet. Seizing the opportune moment, Devine coincidentally encountered Mellon on the way to the National Gallery, precisely where Mellon intended to go. With a keen grasp of Mellon's tastes, Devine dazzled him with his expertise, altering Mellon's perception of him entirely. Devine's success lay in meticulous preparation and the mastery of his target's preferences. Employing subtle spies within his client's circles ensured his dominance in the art market. His strategy of information gathering outmatched rivals, dissuading many from pursuing the affluent clients who could enrich a dealer. The power of espionage lies in appearing all-knowing and charming. Understanding your target's inclinations enables not just knowledge acquisition, but the forging of alliances. In wielding power, controlling future events demands insight into others' concealed intentions and plans. Through clever conversation, subtle inquiries, and testing, one can reveal others' secrets while maintaining a facade of friendship. Talleyrand, a master at this art, extracted confidences from his counterparts without divulging his own thoughts. The employment of disinformation further bolsters power. By deliberately planting false information, one manipulates the game. Just as the English-controlled agents deceived the Nazis during World War II, misinformation can confound adversaries, diverting their focus and actions. Espionage unveils not just empirical data, but the true character of individuals, aiding in predicting their future actions. However, these methods necessitate caution. Overt probing can betray intentions. Instead, sly conversation and gentle prodding can extract valuable information without raising suspicion. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. Throughout history, wisdom has resonated in the hearts of great leaders. A dreaded foe must face complete annihilation. Any flickering ember, no matter how faint, can spark a devastating fire. Halting midway inflicts more loss than total obliteration, for the enemy will regenerate and seek retribution. Crush not just their bodies, but their spirits. In the legendary rivalry between Shang Yu and Liu Pang in ancient China, the former's impetuous nature clashed with the latter's strategic prowess. Both generals, once comrades, diverged in methods and ambitions. When tasked to conquer Qin, Shang's haste to reach Xinjiang, the capital, before Liu Pang led to a series of strategic blunders. His misplaced trust and hesitation in eliminating Liu Pang, his rival, played a pivotal role in his downfall. Liu Pang, capitalizing on Shang's vacillation, eventually rose as the emperor, learning the art of total victory by shrewdly removing threats. Empress Wu Zhao, navigating the treacherous imperial harem, orchestrated her ascent to power through calculated schemes. Her ruthless pursuit of dominance showcased a determination to crush adversaries without remorse. By eliminating rivals and orchestrating strategic maneuvers, she secured her reign through manipulation and brutality. The principle of crushing the enemy extends beyond warfare. It underscores the essence of strategic control. Moses' relentless actions against adversaries and Mao's astute military tactics highlight the necessity of total victory. Sun-tzu's wisdom echoes, advocating for the obliteration of enemies to prevent future threats. A partial victory invites future revanchism. Utter elimination is the path to enduring security. Yet, rare moments may warrant a reversal, allowing adversaries to falter in their demise or sparing them if their destruction exacerbates their vindictiveness. Nevertheless, the risk of leniency empowering enemies underscores the necessity of unwavering vigilance. In the pursuit of power, annihilating foes secures dominance. Any inclination towards leniency kindles their vengeful spirit. Leaders must embrace the maxim, never go halfway, for incomplete victories invite relentless retaliation. Only by erasing enemies entirely can lasting peace and control be achieved. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. The concept of presence and absence in various aspects of life holds a profound truth, a delicate balance between visibility and scarcity. When established within a group or in relationships, knowing when to withdraw or become less accessible can significantly enhance your value and desirability. In the context of love and social interaction, excessive visibility often diminishes one's allure. Too much exposure creates a sense of commonality, reducing one's uniqueness. Sir Guillaume de Ballon, a troubadour, inadvertently discovered the power of absence in romance. Initially enamored with Lady Guillaume de Havillac, he experimented with withdrawing from her, anticipating her longing for reconciliation. However, his absence only deepened her love, leading to his own frustration. Ultimately, reconciling with her became an elusive joy. Similarly, Despise, a figure in ancient Medea, grasped the importance of presence and absence in governance. His fair and wise judgments elevated him to the sole arbiter of justice. Yet, realizing that excessive availability diminished his authority, he abruptly withdrew. The ensuing chaos and clamor for his return enabled him to negotiate the terms of his reappointment as a revered ruler. The law of absence and presence extends to power dynamics and economics. Napoleon recognized that constant visibility could diminish one's impact, echoing the principle that scarcity elevates value. In a world inundated with presence, the ability to withdraw becomes a rare skill. Notably, even figures like Greta Garbo and Charles V demonstrated that strategic departure from the limelight can revive one's stature and respect. However, the law of absence and presence has a reversal. Its effectiveness only manifests after establishing a recognizable presence. Before reaching a certain level of prominence, omnipresence is crucial. In love, building a strong image ensures that absence evokes longing rather than forgetfulness. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Humans thrive on predictability. It provides a sense of control and comfort, but it also makes them vulnerable. Deliberate unpredictability, however, flips the script. It keeps others off balance, constantly trying to decipher your moves. This tactic, when taken to an extreme, can even intimidate and terrorize. Consider the famous chess match between Boris Spassky and Bobby Fischer in 1972. Fischer's erratic behavior, arriving late, criticizing everything, threw Spassky off his game. The usual patterns were disrupted, leaving Spassky bewildered and ultimately defeated. Fischer's deliberate blunders and apparent lack of strategy were calculated moves to scramble Spassky's expectations. By shunning predictability, Fischer gained the upper hand. The power of unpredictability isn't confined to chess matches. It's a potent tool in various arenas. Stonewall Jackson used bewildering maneuvers in warfare, confusing his enemies and gaining critical advantages. Filippo Maria of Milan wielded unpredictability as a means of control, leaving courtiers constantly guessing. Yet, unpredictability isn't without risks. Muhammad Ali surprised everyone by changing his fighting style against George Foreman, throwing Foreman off guard. However, too much unpredictability, especially from a subordinate position, can be seen as a sign of instability. The key lies in knowing when to disrupt patterns strategically. Unpredictability keeps others on edge, granting you an advantage, but it's a delicate balance. Too much can backfire. Mastery of this art lies in disrupting patterns at opportune moments, leaving others guessing while retaining an air of calculated control. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. In a world fraught with danger and lurking enemies, the instinct to build fortresses seems natural. Safety appears within their walls. Yet isolation, the product of these defenses, opens one to more dangers than it repels. It severs valuable connections, rendering one conspicuous and an easier target. Instead, mingling among people, forging alliances, and circulating shields you from adversaries within the throng. Consider Qin Shi Huangdi, China's first emperor. Once an indomitable ruler, his empire rivaled Alexander the Great's, yet in his final years, few glimpsed him. He dwelled in a sprawling palace, connected by secret passages, moving unseen. Sight of him was punishable by death, reducing him to an enigmatic figure. His growing fear of human contact led to incognito travels and a solitary death. Shi Huangdi's reign commenced with a warrior's ambition, conquering kingdoms to unite China. However, paranoia grew, isolating him from his realm. He outlawed Confucian teachings, made enemies, and withdrew, losing control to scheming ministers who likely orchestrated his demise. Isolation shrinks perspective, severs vital connections, and leads to paranoia and downfall. Versailles under Louis XIV, conversely, exemplified the power of sociability. The king orchestrated every aspect, staying connected to nobles and affairs. His reign thrived due to social interconnectedness. To harness power, shun isolation. Embrace sociability, seek diverse alliances, and immerse in multiple circles. Cicero and Talleyrand thrived through expansive networks. Isolation corrodes creativity, evident in Pintormo's failed frescoes, and hampers artistic communication. Power is bolstered by contact and mobility. Think of the world as Versailles, each room linked. Permeate various circles, preventing isolation by enemies and secrecy by plotters. Moving swiftly keeps you elusive and untargetable. Isolation, albeit temporarily aiding reflection, fosters twisted ideas. It's a last resort, a pitfall leading to distorted perspectives and entrapment. So, if you seek solitude for thought, ensure a return path to society. Law 19. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. In this diverse world, assuming universal reactions to your strategies is a mistake. Deceiving or outmaneuvering some can spark lifelong quests for revenge. Such individuals masquerade as harmless, but they're wolves beneath the surface. Choosing your opponents wisely and avoiding offense or deceit with the wrong person is paramount. Identifying opponents, suckers, and victims is crucial as you ascend. The highest art of power lies in discerning wolves from lambs, foxes from hares, and hawks from vultures. This keen discrimination fosters success without coercion. Blind dealings lead to perpetual sorrow or worse. Recognizing different personas is pivotal. Here are 5 perilous types identified by historical artists, both con and otherwise. 1. The arrogant and proud man. His touchy pride conceals extreme danger. The slightest perceived offense triggers overwhelming vengeance. Don't waste time analyzing. Flee at signs of overactive pride. 2. The hopelessly insecure man. Fragile egos and insecurity breed a slow-burning wrath. Deceived or harmed, they retaliate gradually. Avoid them or face relentless attacks. 3. Mr. Suspicion. Expecting the worst in others, he's easy to deceive but lethal if suspicions turn on you. Exploit his nature to deflect attention, but beware if targeted. 4. The serpent with a long memory. Emotionless and calculating, he bides his time for a shrewd, cold revenge. Crushing or eliminating him is essential if you've wronged him. 5. The plain, unassuming, and often unintelligent man. Deceiving this type is tougher than expected. Their literalness makes them challenging marks. They won't harm, but waste time and resources. Test them before engaging. Then there are transgressions against the law, historical accounts illustrating the dangers of offending others. Whether it's Genghis Khan seeking revenge for a slight, Norfleet hunting down swindlers, or Chang'e's rise to power, insults often sparked ruthless retaliation. These tales caution against underestimating anyone. Offending even seemingly insignificant individuals can yield catastrophic repercussions. It's a warning to assess and comprehend the people you deal with, detect weaknesses, understand pride and insecurities, and see beyond appearances. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. The art of mastering power through non-commitment and strategic aloofness, avoiding entanglements in others' conflicts, has been proven time and again through history. This approach, elucidated in 2 distinct parts, illustrates the power of maintaining one's autonomy and distance in dealings with multiple parties. This section delves into the importance of not committing to any side or cause but yourself. The narrative of Queen Elizabeth I serves as a prime example, illustrating how she wielded power by never yielding to any suitor or alliance. Her ability to keep numerous suitors at bay while strategically maneuvering in diplomatic affairs solidified her position as a respected and powerful ruler. Elizabeth's mastery lay in playing with desire and interest, making herself an enigmatic and desirable figure without ever committing. This strategy allowed her to maintain control as she became the center of attention, drawing in allies without entangling herself emotionally or politically. The narrative of Alcibiades, the Greek statesman, further exemplifies this tactic. By refusing to commit to any side, he positioned himself as a valuable asset courted by competing powers, ultimately holding all the leverage. The key lies in cultivating an aura of ungraspability. By withholding commitment, one garners respect and allure, becoming a challenge and drawing in more interest. The moment commitment occurs, the power diminishes, making one like everyone else. The importance of maintaining independence without outright rejection is emphasized. The art lies in sparking interest, occasionally bending but never yielding, maintaining an air of mystery and desirability. People, like Picasso's dealers or political figures courting Kissinger's support, are drawn to those who seem unattainable. This part delves into the strategic advantage of not getting embroiled in others' conflicts. Isabella d'Este's political prowess is showcased in navigating Italy's turbulent political landscape by not aligning herself with any side definitively. Instead, she strategically played the field, keeping her kingdom independent amidst warring factions. Isabella's mastery lay in seeming interested while remaining neutral, manipulating and charming influential figures like Louis XII and Cesare Borgia to safeguard her kingdom's autonomy. The strategy involves mastering emotions and refraining from getting dragged into others' conflicts. The power lies in controlling oneself and appearing supportive without emotionally entangling oneself. Preserving autonomy and neutrality provides options and opportunities. It allows one to mediate, secure self-interests, or exploit the exhaustion of conflicting parties. The danger lies in overplaying this strategy, risking being seen through and becoming a target. Balancing interest, surface support, and strategic autonomy is key to its successful application. However, pushing this strategy too far can breed distrust or waning interest. Overplaying multiple suitors or commitments may backfire, necessitating a reevaluation and potential commitment for appearances, all while retaining inner independence and the option to retract. Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. The art of deception lies in making others feel intellectually superior. By fostering this belief, you disarm their suspicions and create opportunities for manipulation. This concept is exemplified through the story of Asbury Harpending, a financier lured into a diamond mine scam in 1872. Harpending initially dismissed news of the mine as a joke until presented with evidence and assurances. The prospectors, Arnold and Slack, cleverly portrayed themselves as unsophisticated, disarming the astute financiers and experts. By assuming a demeanor of naivete, they earned trust and credibility, exploiting the vanity associated with intellect. Arnold and Slack's con involved salting the mine with real gems obtained from Europe, leading experts to overestimate its worth. They played their roles impeccably, fooling even the most discerning minds. The ruse succeeded, not due to elaborate tricks, but by adhering to the deceiver's first commandment, appearing more foolish than the mark. This principle extends beyond intelligence. It encompasses sophistication and ambition. Downplaying one's intelligence and ambitions can shield hidden motives, as seen in historical figures like Claudius and Louis XIII, who feigned folly to evade suspicion. However, discretion is key. Revealing true intelligence seldom benefits. It's wiser to continually downplay it. Yet, there are instances where projecting authority and knowledge can mask deceit, as demonstrated by art dealer Joseph Devine, leveraging confidence to counter criticism of a sold painting's authenticity. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. When faced with a stronger adversary, refraining from fighting for the sake of honor becomes the wisest course. Opt for surrender instead. Surrender provides the space to recuperate, to discomfort and perturb your conqueror, and to wait for their power to diminish. Refuse to grant them the satisfaction of battling and subduing you. Surrender preemptively. By turning the other cheek, you provoke and unsettle them. Make surrender a tool of dominance. Melos, strategically placed in the Mediterranean, resisted allying with Athens during the Peloponnesian War, remaining loyal to Sparta. Athens sent envoys in 416 BC, offering the Melians a choice: surrender and ally, or face ruin. They justified this by stating that the strong impose their will while the weak yield. The Melians cited fairness, but the Athenians argued that power determines what's fair. Despite Melos' belief in divine justice, they declined the Athenian offer, believing in Sparta's aid. Sparta did not come to their aid, and the Athenians eventually invaded. The Melians fought valiantly but surrendered, only to face brutal consequences. Men of fighting age were killed, and the women and children sold into slavery. Few Melians survived. The Athenians offered a practical argument to the Melians: feudal resistance brings no gain. The weak stand alone and must submit. Fighting leads to martyrdom and unnecessary death. Weakness isn't shameful. It can become strength if used wisely. Surrender could have allowed the Melians to subtly resist or gain from an alliance and exit when the Athenians weakened later. Bertolt Brecht, a communist targeted by the House Un-American Activities Committee in 1947, used a different tactic than his Hollywood peers. While others confronted the committee, Brecht appeared submissive. He politely answered questions, sometimes ambiguously, and wore a suit, subtly mocking the committee's chairman. His surrendering guise, combined with elusive responses, outwitted the committee, preserving his freedom. Brecht's indirect disgust at the committee allowed him to maintain artistic freedom. Surrender wasn't actual capitulation, it was a guise to mock the committee while subtly opposing it. When confronting authority, feigning submission can befuddle and neutralize aggressors. Reacting excessively to adversaries often leads to further problems. Yield instead of resisting or fighting back, confounding your opponent. Inwardly remain firm while outwardly appearing compliant. Surrender buys time to plot a countermove. Surrender isn't genuine submission, it's a guise for strategic advantage. Surrendering isn't martyrdom, it's a tool to save oneself for a future resurgence. Martyrdom is unpredictable and denies one the enjoyment of regained power. When power wanes, avoid martyrdom, as it robs you of the chance to witness your resurgence. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Conserve your resources by focusing them where they're strongest. Dig deeper into a rich mine. This yields more than hopping between shallow ones. Intensity surpasses spread. To rise in power, identify a pivotal supporter, a consistent source that sustains you. In ancient China, Wu sought dominance over the Middle Kingdom. Wu, despite recent successes, found itself overstretched, unaware of the lurking threat from Yue. Wu Zhu, the king's advisor, foresaw danger but was disregarded. When Yue eventually invaded, Wu faced humiliation and destruction. This mirrors the downfall of empires like Athens and Rome, which expanded recklessly and crumbled. The Rothschild family thrived by concentrating their influence. Meyer Amschel focused on the Thurn and Taxis princes, consolidating their financial power. His sons expanded across Europe, maintaining unity through secrecy and intermarriage. Their close-knit network ensured stability amidst chaotic times, unlike other families who faced downfall due to dispersion. In a fragmented world, concentrating your efforts and aligning with a single potent source maximizes impact. Napoleon's success lay in focusing forces on enemy weaknesses. Similarly, attaching to a key power figure amplifies influence. Leonardo da Vinci's diverse pursuits show power in intensity, yet dispersion can guard against over-reliance. Dispersion has merits in guerrilla warfare, offering flexibility against stronger foes. Relying solely on one source risks downfall if it falters, as seen with Cesare Borgia after Pope Alexander VI's death. Extremes in focus can stifle creativity, exemplified by Uccello's obsessive perspective compared to Da Vinci's diverse genius. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. The ideal courtier flourishes in a realm where power and political finesse reign supreme. Skillfully navigating the art of subtlety, they flatter, yield to superiors, and assert influence in a refined, indirect manner. Grasp the tenets of courtly conduct, and there's no limit to your ascent within the court. Human society naturally orbits around power, with courts historically forming around rulers, serving to entertain and reinforce hierarchies. Courts cater to power, embellishing the ruler's world to meet their desires. Yet, being a courtier is perilous. Courtiers in Darfur mirrored the Sultan's actions, risking harm or death by emulating him. A misstep meant doom. Balancing between pleasing and standing out, they walked a tightrope to survive. Master courtiers wield the science of manipulation, elevating the king's status and instilling fear in others. Their magic lies in appearances, skillfully managing perceptions. They exude grace, masking aggression, using words with precision. Their allure magnetizes people, yet they maintain dignity. Often they surpass the ruler in influence, becoming indispensable. Court life may seem archaic, but its laws persist. The guiding principles remain timeless, worth studying from past and present luminaries. Now, let's see the laws of courtly politics. 1. Shun showiness. Avoid boasting, as it breeds suspicion and envy. Speak less of your deeds and modestly revere others. 2. Embrace nonchalance. Craft your talents to seem effortless. Conceal effort, let brilliance shine naturally. 3. Be prudent with praise. Limit flattery, excess devalues it. Indirectly praise to uplift your superior. 4. Secure attention. Paradoxically, be noticed without overt display. Catch the ruler's eye subtly, through appearance or demeanor. 5. Adapt communication. Tailor language and style to each person, avoiding a one-size-fits-all approach. Adapt to diverse cultures. 6. Deliver good news. Shield yourself from delivering bad news, avoiding association with negativity. 7. Maintain distance. Maintain respectful distance from the ruler, balancing warmth with caution. 8. Indirect critique. Couch criticism tactfully, avoiding direct confrontations. 9. Prudence in seeking favors. Minimize requests, earn favors through merit rather than excessive solicitation. 10. Mind jokes. Steer clear of jests about appearance or taste, especially with superiors. 11. Avoid cynicism. Show admiration for others' work. Constant criticism tarnishes your reputation. 12. Self-awareness. Observe and adapt your behavior, avoiding obsequiousness or desperation. 13. Master emotions. Control emotions, displaying only as necessary. 14. Keep up with times. Blend with contemporary spirits without standing out excessively. 15. Be a source of joy. Attract through charm and delight. Unpleasantness repels. Talleyrand, a court master, once played a practical joke on Napoleon, capitalizing on his naivete. The elaborate ruse led Napoleon on a wild, embarrassing chase. Talleyrand's mastery faltered, revealing his tricks and infuriating the emperor. The court is a delicate game. Any oversight can tarnish a courtier's grace and reputation. The key is to conceal your maneuvers. Should your master discern your tricks, you transform from a refined courtier to a despicable schemer. The courtier's game demands meticulousness. Cover your tracks and never allow your master to unmask you. Law 25. Recreate yourself. The transformation of identity and the theatricality of power define the essence of Caesar and Sand's stories. Both reshape their public personas through dramatic techniques, a strategy that resonates through history and offers valuable lessons. Julius Caesar's ascent showcased his mastery of spectacle, from grand events to strategic gestures. His influence expanded through dramatic speeches and calculated actions, defining an image of power that captivated the masses. The crossing of the Rubicon was a climactic moment, orchestrated theatrically to sway support and assert his authority. In contrast, Aurore Dupin du Devant, under the guise of George Sand, defied societal norms for female writers. By assuming a male persona, she challenged the predefined roles imposed on women in literature. Sand's theatrical transformation not only captivated the public, but also enabled her to navigate a world that limited women's opportunities. The core message underlying both narratives is the power of self-reinvention and the orchestration of one's image. Caesar and Sand exemplified the importance of molding one's character, engaging an audience, and wielding the dynamics of theater to shape perception. This transcendence of societal constraints through dramatic identity shifts became their strategic advantage. Moreover, the lessons extend beyond their stories. They emphasize the need for self-awareness, the control of appearances and emotions, and the deliberate crafting of one's narrative. Whether it's creating suspense in unfolding events, mastering stage entrances, or adapting personas to different situations, these principles showcase the artistry in self-presentation and manipulation of perception. Ultimately, the core idea revolves around the Promethean act of taking charge of one's destiny, transcending assigned roles, and embracing the autonomy to craft a compelling identity. It's a reminder that the world often assigns roles, but the true power lies in the ability to redefine oneself, thereby commanding attention and influence on life's grand stage. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. In the pursuit of maintaining an impeccable facade, one must master the art of concealing mistakes by shifting blame. Our reputation thrives not on what's revealed, but on what's hidden. Mistakes, inevitable as they are, demand concealment, and the wise always ensure a scapegoat for such occasions. Consider the plight of Sun-tzu, a powerful figure in China's waning Han Empire. Struggling to maintain control during a critical siege, a minor error led to food shortages within his army. Sensing murmurs of discontent among his men, Sun-tzu acted swiftly. Summoning the commissariat chief, innocent of any fault, Sun-tzu coerced his head as a public display, silencing dissent and redirecting blame. Similarly, Cesar Borgia, eyeing control over Romagna, enlisted Ramiro de Orco to impose order ruthlessly. However, as de Orco's actions stirred resentment, Cesar, adept in power play, publicly denounced and executed him, placating the populace while distancing himself from the brutality. This tactic isn't archaic. History is rife with examples. Scapegoating transcends cultures. From biblical rituals to modern politics, leaders evade accountability. Mao Zedong found fall guys after the Cultural Revolution's failure, shielding himself. Even Roosevelt relied on a scapegoat, shielding his image while maneuvering politically. The scapegoat isn't merely blame-shifting, it's a warning and a lesson. Richelieu's execution of an innocent brother sent a clear message: power will protect itself, regardless of innocence. Yet, care is essential. Pick a victim too weak, and sympathy may undermine the facade. Opting for a powerful scapegoat or sacrificing a close associate secures the leader's facade, ensuring the concealment of errors over personal loyalties. In the monkey and cat fable, the monkey cleverly used the cat's paw to pluck chestnuts from the fire without getting burnt. The lesson? When a task is risky or undesirable, seek a cat's paw, someone to do the dirty work for you, shield you from responsibility, and help achieve your goals while keeping your hands clean. This art of manipulation through proxies echoes throughout history, shaping power struggles and strategies across civilizations. Cleopatra's saga illustrates this concept vividly. Her manipulation of Caesar and Antony positioned them as her cat's paws. They eliminated her adversaries, solidified her rule, and served her ambitions without realizing her subtle influence. By steering others to execute her plans, Cleopatra preserved her image while achieving her ends. Similarly, Mao Zedong orchestrated a strategic alliance with Chiang Kai-shek against the Japanese. Chiang, unknowingly acting as a cat's paw, weakened his own forces while fighting their common enemy. This cunning move positioned Mao favorably for the eventual triumph over the nationalists. Kuriyama Daisen, a student of the Japanese tea ceremony, deftly resolved a friend's debt by employing an elegant exchange of prized possessions. His indirect intervention saved his friend from financial burden, showcasing the power of subtle manipulation. The lessons from history reverberate. True power lies in subtlety and delegation. Leaders who avoid getting their hands dirty, using intermediaries to execute tasks or manipulate situations, maintain an air of grace and control. Finding cat's paws among acquaintances or allies allows for the execution of objectives without direct involvement. Strategic deception, such as Chuko Liang's arrow ruse, demonstrates the art of disguising intentions. By creating illusions or orchestrating indirect actions, a leader guides unwitting participants into fulfilling their goals. Yet, the cat's paw strategy demands caution. Missteps, like Catherine de' Medici's failed assassination plot, can spiral into chaos if exposed. Overuse or miscalculation of proxies can backfire, leading to loss of control and unforeseen consequences. Sometimes, assuming blame or taking direct action can reinforce authority. Yet, this tactic should be sparingly used to avoid breeding resentment and opposition. Law 27. Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. Creating a cultic following is akin to wielding immense power, captivating a multitude with promises, vague yet tantalizing. This art of charlatanism requires a calculated manipulation of human longing for something to believe in, exploiting enthusiasm over clear rationale. The steps to crafting such a cult are deceptively simple yet potent. Firstly, captivate through vagueness. Words, nebulous yet promising, cast a bewitching spell. Offering grand but enigmatic pledges, using resonant yet ambiguous phrases, crafts an illusion of profundity, inviting souls to weave their own dreams and connect the dots as they wish. This sets the stage for the birth of a following, drawn to your hazily attractive concepts. Then, emphasize sensory allure over intellectual scrutiny. Ward off boredom and skepticism through theatrical displays, luxury, visual splendor, and multi-sensory experiences. Use exoticism and modernity to veil the mundane, preventing followers from questioning the substance behind the spectacle. Next, borrow religious structures to organize your group. Invoke the trappings of organized faith to create rituals, hierarchies, and titles, lending an air of sanctity to your enterprise. Position yourself not as a dictator but as a spiritual guide, cloaking your power within the sanctum of religious imagery. Disguise the source of your wealth. Let your followers believe in the magic of your methods rather than the reality of their contributions. Wealth, supposedly from the truth of your teachings, perpetuates the illusion, as imitative enthusiasm blinds them to your actual gains. Lastly, foment an us versus them dynamic. Forge an exclusive club unified by common goals, fabricating adversaries to strengthen this bond. Invent foes if none exist, fostering cohesion through opposition to external threats. These tactics find historical resonance. The likes of Francesco Borri and Michael Schupich mastered these arts, capitalizing on human susceptibility to grandeur and mysticism. Borri's vision of a new pope's army and Schupich's mountain doctor persona illustrate how crafting tales of mystical transformations and leveraging nature's healing power garnered fervent followings. However, there's a flip side, the peril of a disillusioned group turning against you. The art of manipulating crowds requires constant vigilance, anticipating doubts, and thwarting dissent. Dealing with individuals might offer an escape route if they see through your facade. Law 28. Enter action with boldness. The dichotomy between boldness and hesitation is a psychological chasm with distinct repercussions. Hesitation erects barriers, boldness annihilates them. Understanding this dichotomy necessitates conquering natural timidity and honing the craft of audacity. Here's a contemplation of the profound psychological impacts of both. Boldness, rather counterintuitively, conceals our shortcomings. Much like the con artist who knows that audacious lies hold sway, the bolder the approach, the more plausible it becomes, diverting attention from its flaws. In negotiations or cons, exceeding initial expectations often yields unexpected success. Aiming higher tends to garner more, surprising even oneself. People detect weakness instinctually. Demonstrating readiness to yield and compromise in initial encounters invokes a predator-like response, pushing even non-aggressive individuals to capitalize on perceived vulnerability. This dynamic underscores the importance of perception. Once labeled as someone who capitulates easily, one becomes susceptible to manipulation. Boldness projects an image of size and power, instilling a sense of fear disproportionate to reality. Intimidating with audacious moves sets a precedent, positioning oneself on the offensive in subsequent interactions. The unexpected boldness sows fear, establishing dominance through sheer psychological impact. Entering actions with wavering confidence plants hurdles in one's path. Doubt begets confusion, spawning illusory options and compounding the existing problems. Timidity becomes the hunted hare, inadvertently stumbling into snares while retreating from the predator. Hesitation creates vacuums, affording others time to ponder. Timidity breeds discomfort, eliciting embarrassment and doubts. Boldness eradicates these gaps, offering no space for doubt or hesitation. In seduction, hesitation betrays intentions, while a bold move ensures triumph by eliminating time for contemplation. Boldness commands attention, endowing an imposing presence. The timid blend into the background, while the audacious seize notice. Attention garners power, boldness becomes an irresistible magnet, inviting anticipation for the next daring move. In a historic scam, Count Victor Lustig attempted to sell the Eiffel Tower, leveraging audacity to its extreme. His success was rooted in the tower's inconceivable size, an illusion so grand it defied belief, a testament to the power of scale and audacity. Young Ivan, thrust into a precarious position, patiently observed and then unleashed an audacious move, securing his authority amidst powerful adversaries. His lesson? Negotiating with adversaries creates opportunities for exploitation. A swift, bold move eradicates these chances and reinforces authority. Pietro Aretino, through a daring pamphlet targeting Rome's elite, catapulted himself from obscurity to fame. Attacking prominent figures with boldness garnered admiration and thrust him into the limelight. Most are inherently timid, craving harmony and acceptance. However, boldness is outward-focused and, ironically, often generates more ease by being less self-conscious. Seduction itself hinges on boldness, complete surrender, devoid of hesitation, eclipses flattery and invites admiration. Boldness isn't innate but cultivated, even by luminaries like Napoleon, recognizing its immense potency. Practice it deliberately, beginning in negotiations, setting prices high like Columbus and Kissinger did, demanding respect and reaping it. Boldness shouldn't saturate every action but strategically punctuate them. It's a learned response that requires control and discretion. An existence solely reliant on audacity exhausts and alienates. Lola Montez and Ivan the Terrible exemplify the perils of unchecked boldness, plunging into cruelty and insanity. Timidity, while unfit for the power domain, can be a feigned tool, a calculated lure before the audacious strike. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. The essence of success lies in an unwavering focus on the ending. To achieve greatness, one must meticulously plan, accounting for potential obstacles, reversals, and the machinations of fate that could undo hard-earned progress. By foreseeing the conclusion, you evade being overwhelmed by circumstances and discern when to halt your endeavors. This foresight guides destiny and shapes the future through meticulous strategic thinking. In 1510, Vasco Núñez de Balboa's pursuit of gold led him on a tumultuous journey. His determination to claim the fabled El Dorado pushed him to escape creditors and sway a ship's crew to establish a colony in Panama. Yet, Balboa's impulsive maneuvers, seizing power and dreaming of conquests, left him vulnerable. His failure to secure Spanish approval as an outlaw sealed his fate. Despite being the first European to behold the Pacific, his dream of glory crumbled due to short-sightedness. Contrastingly, Otto von Bismarck, the Prussian premier in 1863, played a calculated game of power. Initiating war strategically, he secured Prussian autonomy, setting the stage for a united Germany. Bismarck's vision extended beyond conquests. He orchestrated peace to safeguard his creation, the German Empire. His disciplined approach and steadfastness culminated in a stabilized Europe, defying expectations of relentless expansion. The crux lies in the art of long-term planning. Bismarck's precise objectives and ceaseless restraint contrast with Balboa's reckless pursuits, highlighting the significance of calculated foresight. The ability to foresee distant dangers grants an unparalleled advantage. Those fixated on immediate desires fall victim to the allure of transient victories, often inviting ruin. Even amidst the unpredictability of the future, a clear vision and meticulous planning allow for adaptability. Reversing this principle is futile. The freedom to adapt arises from a foundation of well-defined goals and far-sighted strategies. It's not rigidity that ensures success, but rather a clarity of purpose that enables flexibility. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. The path to mastery often resides in the art of concealing effort, letting grace and ease define your actions while keeping the toil, practice, and clever maneuvers hidden. This principle echoes through various historical anecdotes, revealing the power of appearing natural in all endeavors. Sen no Rikyu, the eminent Japanese tea master, championed this approach. His preference for the natural and effortless over the contrived and laborious guided his philosophy. His departure from a tea ceremony that revealed affectation and excessive effort showcases the importance of maintaining an appearance of ease. Rikyu's subtle gestures, like perfectly arranged stepping stones, impressed without calling attention to the labor behind them. Harry Houdini, the renowned escape artist, epitomized this concept through his performances. He astounded audiences with escapes that defied belief, yet he meticulously concealed the painstaking practice and research that underpinned his acts. His ability to maintain composure and grace, even when facing seemingly insurmountable challenges, exemplified the illusion of effortlessness. These stories highlight a critical lesson. True power lies not just in achieving remarkable feats, but in the art of making them seem effortless. The Renaissance court's concept of sprezzatura, the ability to perform with nonchalance while hiding the artistry, elucidates the allure of such gracefulness. The allure of effortlessness extends beyond mere appearances. It's a strategic tool wielded by the powerful. Talleyrand, a master diplomat, effortlessly manipulated perception by appearing clairvoyant, masking the extensive groundwork done by others. His ability to synthesize complex situations into concise statements enhanced his aura of power. However, this art of concealment isn't solely about hiding labor, it's about maintaining an air of lightheartedness. Excessive secrecy may breed suspicion rather than admiration. Yet, selective revelation, as P.T. Barnum demonstrated, can engage an audience, giving them a peek behind the curtain without unveiling the entire machinery. Law 31. Control the options. Get others to play with the cards you deal. In the art of manipulation, the most potent deceptions offer the illusion of choice to your targets while firmly guiding their decisions toward your advantage. To sway others subtly is to puppeteer their actions while they believe themselves in control. It's about forcing decisions where both outcomes serve your purpose, putting them in a bind no matter which way they turn. Consider Ivan IV, known as Ivan the Terrible. Facing a nation in dire need of reform, he lacked the authority to enforce change due to the dominant Russian princely class, the boyars. His pivotal moment came when, on his deathbed, he asked the boyars to swear allegiance to his son as the new czar. Their hesitation and refusals revealed his lack of control. His subsequent retreat and establishment in a village south of Moscow struck fear into the capital. Ivan's letter declaring abdication shook the people, inciting chaos. However, by presenting the citizens with a choice, absolute power for himself or finding a new leader, Ivan strategically manipulated their decision. Fearing civil war, they overwhelmingly favored a strong czar, calling for Ivan's return, thus granting him undisputed power. This tactic of creating the illusion of choice was not unique to Ivan. Ninon de L'Enclos, a French courtesan, expertly wielded a similar power. After a sudden reversal, she offered her patrons limited options: pay for her services and conform to her schedule, or be part of her esteemed admirers, with a slim chance of becoming her favored lover. This system rendered her suitors compliant, each option ultimately benefiting her. The crux lies in manipulating choices to induce compliance. Techniques like coloring choices, as Henry Kissinger did, forcing resistors, as Dr. Erickson did, or narrowing options, as Ambroise Vola did, prove effective. Even the weak, when cornered strategically, succumb to controlled choices. Cardinal de Retz's use of fear and terror to spur the Duke of Orleans into action exemplifies this. Yet, wielding this power requires subtlety. Directly exerting control often breeds resentment and retaliation. Offering the illusion of choice disguises your influence and mitigates backlash. However, granting rivals some freedom can offer strategic advantages, allowing observation and planning for more impactful actions later. Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. The human inclination toward fantasy and avoidance of harsh truths is a powerful force. People seek refuge from unpleasant realities, gravitating toward those who offer escapism, often at the expense of truth. This inclination was evident in Venice during the 16th century when the city faced economic decline. Venice, once a prosperous city-state, succumbed to the harsh winds of change. The opening of new trade routes shifted power to other European nations, leaving Venice struggling to compete. The loss of key territories, like the island of Cyprus to the Turks, furthered their economic downfall. As noble families went bankrupt, a sense of gloom enveloped the citizens, yearning for a return to their glorious past. Enter Il Bragadino, a mysterious figure rumored to possess alchemic powers capable of turning base metals into gold. The allure of this fantasy sparked hope among the Venetians, who believed he held the key to revitalizing their city. They extended invitations and lavished resources on him, dreaming of a miraculous turnaround. Bragadino, an expert manipulator of human desire, played into their fantasies, amassing wealth and prestige. Despite the growing impatience of Venetians awaiting the promised gold, Bragadino remained elusive, feeding their hopes while never delivering. His aura of power relied on the distance he maintained, never allowing the fantasy to be fully realized. This manipulation through fantasy holds enduring relevance. The allure of sudden transformations without effort, the yearning for an exotic escape from mundane lives, the promise of unity or relief from conflict, or even the desire to reverse unchangeable truths, all these fantasies retain their power. The key lies in leveraging these fantasies while maintaining distance. Promise the unattainable, the distant mirage that keeps people dreaming but never allow it to materialize fully. The con artist, the charlatan, and the manipulator thrive on these distant fantasies, using them as instruments of power. However, a word of caution surfaces from history. Misjudging the limits of people's patience or underestimating their desperation can lead to a fatal downfall. Bragadino's failure to fulfill the Bavarian's fantasies led to his demise, a stark reminder that pushing too far can result in dire consequences. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. The essence of power lies in understanding human vulnerabilities. Everyone has a chink in their armor, a fissure in their castle walls, be it an insecurity, an uncontrollable emotion, or a secret pleasure. Identifying and leveraging this weakness can be the ultimate tool in your arsenal, a thumbscrew to manipulate situations to your advantage. In mastering this art, a strategic plan emerges, offering insights into human behavior and how to navigate the labyrinth of weaknesses. Gestures and signals. People unconsciously betray themselves through gestures and passing words. Listening intently and observing minutiae in everyday conversations reveal hidden weaknesses. Engaging with a sympathetic ear often leads others to share their vulnerabilities. Probe indirectly. Uncover weaknesses indirectly by addressing suspected soft spots, flattering individuals, or sharing seemingly personal secrets. People often respond genuinely, unveiling their vulnerabilities. Childhood roots. Many weaknesses stem from childhood needs or deficiencies. Recognizing these early influences provides a potent key to someone's vulnerabilities. Behaviors that echo childish reactions can signal unresolved childhood issues. Contrasts and overt traits. Often, overt traits mask their opposites. Delve beyond surface appearances. Shy individuals may yearn for attention, while the seemingly uptight might crave adventure. Finding the weak link. In circles of power, there's often someone behind the scenes exerting significant influence. Winning their favor indirectly affects the entire group. Even in a unified front, there's usually a weak link susceptible to pressure. Emotional voids. Insecurities and unhappiness are emotional voids ripe for exploitation. The insecure crave validation, while the chronically unhappy reveal their roots of discontent. Filling these voids grants substantial leverage. Uncontrollable emotions. Exploit base motives or disproportionate fears. Individuals in the grip of intense emotions become malleable, allowing external influence. Let's see a few case studies and the lessons learned. Richelieu's rise to power was orchestrated by identifying weaknesses within the court, targeting Queen Marie de' Medici insecurities, and then exploiting King Louis XIII's attachment to his mother. Lesson: identify the hidden power influencers and exploit emotional attachments to gain control. Count Lustig preyed on Lawler's insecurities and need for validation, leveraging his vulnerabilities to con him with a fabricated money-making scheme. Lesson: exploit dissatisfaction and insecurities to manipulate and deceive individuals into vulnerable positions. Catherine wielded influence by exploiting men's weaknesses for female attention, manipulating relationships and leveraging romantic entanglements to maintain control over the court. Lesson: recognize vulnerabilities and passions, particularly those linked to relationships and affections, to dominate key figures. Devine understood Arabella's longing for social acceptance, subtly influencing her taste and validating her standing in society to create a loyal client. Lesson: acknowledge and bolster individuals' need for recognition and validation to cultivate lasting influence. Bismarck capitalized on King William's insecurity about his leadership, driving him toward militaristic action and solidifying his position in history. Lesson: exploit timidity by fostering a desire for grandeur and courage to push individuals into actions that serve your interests. Playing on weaknesses has its perils. Emotions unleashed may spiral out of control, jeopardizing plans. Stirring timid individuals into bold actions can result in unforeseen consequences. But caution: exercise restraint, knowing when vulnerabilities might backfire or emotions could escalate beyond control. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. The manner in which one presents themselves often dictates the treatment they receive. Long-term, projecting an air of vulgarity or commonness tends to invite disrespect from others. This principle echoes the notion that a king, by respecting himself and exuding confidence, inspires similar sentiments in those around him. The projection of regal demeanor and assurance in one's capabilities creates the impression of being destined for greatness. In 1830, Paris witnessed a revolution leading to the abdication of King Charles X. The subsequent selection of Louis Philippe as the new ruler marked a departure from tradition. Louis Philippe, unlike his predecessors, shunned royal ceremonies and preferred associating with bankers over nobility. His style aimed not at establishing a new form of royal authority, but at blending with the middle-class populace. His signature symbols weren't scepters or crowns, but a gray hat and umbrella, emblematic of his casual demeanor as he strolled Paris streets, a stark contrast to traditional royal pomp. Louis Philippe's reliance on bankers for support backfired. His reign became marred by disdain from both the aristocracy, discontent with an unkingly king, and the burgeoning lower classes, disappointed by a ruler disconnected from both regal tradition and people's needs. His over-reliance on financial elites eroded his power. The disdain culminated when James Rothschild, once treated as an equal, openly chastised the king in public, underscoring the erosion of Louis Philippe's stature. Similarly, the narrative of Christopher Columbus presents a tale of self-created nobility. Born to humble origins, Columbus spun tales of noble lineage, projecting an image of destined greatness. Despite lacking qualifications and expertise, he audaciously petitioned King João II of Portugal for an ambitious westward voyage, making grandiose demands. Despite initial rejection, the king's respect for Columbus' boldness planted the seed of belief in the explorer's mind that projecting confidence could elevate one's perceived worth. Columbus' strategic projection of nobility eventually led him to Spain, where he ingratiated himself into high circles. Persistence paid off when Queen Isabella, impressed by his confidence, granted his demands for a westward expedition. Despite his mediocre skills as a navigator, his self-assured bearing facilitated royal support. This narrative underscores the strategy of the crown. A belief in one's destined greatness radiates outward, influencing how one is perceived. However, this projection must not transform into arrogance or disdain. The balance lies in dignified self-assurance akin to Haile Selassie's graceful confidence, which elevated him even in exile. The regal bearing must be cultivated carefully. It should inspire respect without alienating others. Charles I's stubborn regality amid societal upheaval led to his demise, highlighting the peril of disconnecting too much from the populace. Law 35. Master the art of timing. Joseph Fouché, an enigmatic figure, mastered the art of timing through patient observance and calculated action. His life, initially unassuming, transformed through astute waiting and decisive strikes at opportune moments. Beginning as a humble teacher, Fouché navigated the turbulent seas of the French Revolution, shedding his former identity to align with the revolutionary spirit. Sensing shifts in power dynamics, he befriended influential figures, climbing the ranks swiftly. However, he strategically distanced himself from radical factions when tensions peaked, foreseeing the perils of entanglement. His calculated maneuvers saved him when Robespierre sought his downfall. Fouché rallied support subtly, waiting for the right moment to oust his powerful rival. His expertise lay in understanding the nuances of time, long time, where patience was his shield, forced time, employed to disrupt opponents' plans, and end time, where swift, decisive actions sealed his victories. Fouché's prowess lay in waiting, observing, and striking when the moment was opportune, allowing him to navigate treacherous landscapes with finesse. The lessons from Fouché's life unveil essential strategies, understanding the spirit of the times, not merely riding the waves but foreseeing the reactions, exercising patience, a potent weapon in the pursuit of power, and utilizing time manipulation, slowing it down or forcing its pace, to gain advantages. The mastery of timing involves controlling one's emotional responses, observing unfolding events with clarity, and manipulating time to suit one's objectives. Knowing when to wait and when to strike defines true power. There's no reversal to this law. It's the art of the patient predator, biding its time before pouncing with precision. Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. Acknowledging a minor problem grants it credibility and existence. Providing excessive attention to an adversary amplifies their strength, while attempts to rectify small errors often magnify their visibility. At times, the best course is non-interference. If there's something desired but unattainable, displaying contempt is advantageous. Concealing interest elevates one's superiority. In 1910, during Mexico's Revolution, Pancho Villa transformed from a bandit leader to a revered figure, known for robbing trains to aid the destitute. Villa's allure captivated Americans, evoking comparisons to Robin Hood and Don Juan. Despite initial success, Villa's defeat by General Carranza led to his return to banditry, tarnishing his image. Eventually, he directed anger towards the United States, blaming them for his plight. Villa's raid on Columbus, New Mexico in 1916, resulting in the deaths of American soldiers and civilians, prompted President Woodrow Wilson to act against the once-admired Villa. A punitive expedition led by General Pershing, intended to capture Villa, became a spectacle followed by U.S. reporters. However, Villa skillfully eluded the American forces, gaining admiration for his resourcefulness. Wilson's attempt to demonstrate U.S. power backfired. The prolonged expedition intensified attention on American incompetence while showcasing Villa's cunning. Wilson's response could have been different, collaborating with Mexicans or covertly orchestrating Villa's capture. Henry VIII sought an annulment from Pope Clement VII to divorce Catherine of Aragon, attributing their childless marriage to her prior union with his deceased brother. Henry's persistence led to the Church of England's formation, disregarding papal authority. By ignoring Catherine, Henry displayed disdain, asserting dominance. His actions illustrate the power of contempt. By dismissing adversaries, one controls the conflict's terms. Desire often repels, and excessive attention weakens. Contempt, wielded strategically, disorients adversaries, triggering their desires to possess or harm, granting the initiator power. However, contempt demands caution. Neglected issues might grow into formidable challenges. The skill lies in discerning nuisances that fade and potential threats needing vigilant monitoring. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. Striking imagery and grand symbolic gestures wield immense influence over people, creating an aura of authority and captivating attention. Constructing elaborate spectacles filled with captivating visuals and radiant symbols heightens your presence, diverting attention from your true actions amidst the dazzling appearances. In the early 1780s, Berlin buzzed with tales of Dr. Wilder's unconventional medical practice. His converted beer hall drew crowds seeking miraculous cures, attributing his healing powers to the moon's rays. The spectacle outside transformed from the destitute seeking remedy to a display of opulence as the elite joined, drawn by curiosity. Inside, a mesmerizing scene unfolded, a diverse crowd, moonlight casting eerie shadows, and rumors of miraculous healing spread like wildfire. Wilder, while lacking medical knowledge, grasped human psychology. Rather than relying on words or scientific evidence, he orchestrated a visual extravaganza centered around the moon. His patients, enthralled by the spectacle, believed in the healing power associated with the celestial body, irrespective of its physical presence. Similarly, Diane de Poitiers, King Henri II's mistress, mastered the art of symbolism. Using intertwined initials to symbolize their union and adopting the persona of the Roman goddess Diana, she crafted an image of purity and power. Her castle, adorned with symbols of Diana, painted an illusion of mythic force around her. These historical examples underscore the supremacy of visuals over words. Words invite reflection and doubt, while visuals bypass skepticism, evoking immediate emotions. Dr. Wilder and Diane de Poitiers understood this, using images to weave narratives that transcended rational scrutiny, tapping into emotions and forging connections. Symbols, whether visual or verbal, possess potent emotional resonance. Colors, arrangements, and associations in visual presentations hold immense sway over perceptions. The sheer power of a visual, like Constantine's vision of a cross over the sun, transcends any verbal persuasion. In modern times, this power persists. Manipulating visual sequences can influence perceptions. Placement at the forefront, literally or symbolically, commands authority and shapes emotional responses. Yet, direct replication of past symbols may no longer wield the same influence. Instead, associating with historic symbols indirectly or creating new symbol combinations can elevate one's stature. Symbols, in their gentleness, hold courtier-like influence, offering subtle communication beyond words. Harnessing symbols for rallying teams or causes, as seen in Cardinal de Retz's transformation of the term fronde during rebellion, illustrates the emotional unity symbols can evoke. Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. In a world where defiance can breed disdain and conformity seems the safer path, the tales of Pausanias, Tommaso Campanella, and others employ a delicate dance between individuality and survival. The narrative of Pausanias, the Spartan nobleman whose success led to an arrogant embrace of Persian ways, offers a cautionary tale about the dangers of flaunting unconventional behavior. His initial triumphs morphed into a tragic downfall, marked by arrogance and a disconnect from his fellow Greeks. Contrastingly, Campanella, a Dominican monk in the Counter-Reformation era, faced persecution for beliefs deemed heretical by the Catholic Church. His survival strategy involved subtle maneuvers, feigning madness, writing contradictory books, and adeptly disguising his ideas within the bounds of orthodoxy. This allowed him to retain his beliefs while escaping persecution. The central theme emerges from these historical narratives, the strategic art of conformity for survival. They illustrate the power dynamics at play when challenging prevailing norms. Embracing conventional behavior outwardly becomes a shield for expressing dissenting views discreetly. The ability to navigate social circles without triggering hostility becomes a powerful tool, one that Bertolt Brecht used to charm the House Un-American Activities Committee. The dichotomy between conforming and standing out is a nuanced one. It suggests that while conformity shields against direct opposition, true power comes from leveraging individuality only when firmly established in a position of strength. Lyndon Johnson's bold and at times irreverent behavior as president, or Caligula's outrageous displays, highlight the distinction between arrogance and leveraging individuality from a position of power. The cautionary tales reinforce a delicate balance. Defiance without skillful navigation can lead to isolation and downfall, while leveraging one's unique beliefs from a secure vantage point of power can be a strategic advantage. Ultimately, the key lies in understanding the social landscape, navigating its intricacies, and strategically revealing individuality when the time is ripe, eschewing outright rebellion for a more subtle dance of power and influence. Law 39. Stir up waters to catch fish. Anger is a double-edged sword in the realm of power. The counsel often given is to remain composed and objective, as emotional outbursts can undermine strategic advantage. However, there exists a subtle leverage when you remain unruffled while inciting agitation in your adversaries. This imbalance disrupts their stability, enabling you to manipulate their vulnerabilities. In 1809, Napoleon, perturbed by reports of treachery within his ranks, confronted his ministers in a fit of rage. Talleyrand, his foreign minister, maintained an air of indifference, infuriating the emperor further. Napoleon, in a heated outburst, hurled insults and threats, but Talleyrand, unperturbed, retained his calm. This clash marked a turning point as Napoleon's loss of control diminished his authority, while Talleyrand's composed demeanor subtly shifted the power dynamics. Napoleon's emotional reaction revealed a vulnerability. Conversely, in the late 1920s, Haile Selassie demonstrated strategic use of emotional provocation. He goaded Ras Gugsa, a rival, into rebellion, exploiting Gugsa's pride and inciting a revolt that Selassie meticulously orchestrated and swiftly quelled, consolidating his power. The lesson in these contrasting episodes lies in emotional manipulation as a tool of power. Anger often masks a loss of control and weakens one's position. By remaining composed in the face of adversity, individuals like Sun-tzu and Selassie exerted control over volatile situations, choosing their responses deliberately. The key lies in perceiving emotional outbursts, not as personal attacks, but as power plays. Understanding the roots of such reactions, which often stem from complex histories and emotions, grants a strategic advantage. It allows one to sidestep personalizing these encounters, maintaining clarity amidst emotional turbulence. Strategic use of emotions involves calculated provocations and controlled reactions. Stirring emotions in others while maintaining composure creates a power imbalance. The astute play on pride, vanity, and insecurities can prompt adversaries to act prematurely, falling into meticulously laid traps. However, such strategies demand caution. Not all adversaries are susceptible, and provoking the wrong target can invite ruin. Assessing the opponent's vulnerabilities is crucial, and an ill-timed emotional outburst can backfire. Law 40. Despise the free lunch. The interplay between money, power, and human psychology is a complex dance, defining the dynamics of influence and control. In this intricate web, what is seemingly free often carries the heaviest price, the weight of obligations or the shadow of deceit. Worth, it suggests, resides in what is paid for, steering clear of entanglements, guilt, and artifice. Within the realm of power, every facet is evaluated through its cost, for everything bears a price. Offerings of a bargain or freebie often come laden with an unseen cost, be it the compromise on quality, the mire of obligation, or the anxiety it begets. Those in command learn swiftly to safeguard their pivotal assets, independence, and maneuverability. Paying the full price assures liberation from hazardous entanglements and anxieties. Strategic and generous use of finances showcases a nuanced understanding of power dynamics, a refined form of give before you take. The strategic bestowal of appropriate gifts places the recipient under a subtle obligation. Generosity, while softening individuals, can also serve as a smokescreen for power moves. By adorning the court with wealth, one charms and allies, curating pleasure and fostering alliances. Look to the arbiters of power, be it the historical figures or the astute manipulators of today. Miserliness isn't their trait. They grasp that money holds not only financial but psychological weight, a tool for diplomacy and social connectivity. It's in deploying the human facet of money that they fortify their arsenal. For every individual adept at maneuvering money, there are many shackled by self-inflicted limitations, those who either represent the antithesis of power or can be utilized to one's advantage. The greedy fish, driven solely by a cold and calculating pursuit of wealth, disregard the human aspect of money. Their relentless pursuit alienates allies, and their fixation on numbers blinds them to psychology, making them susceptible to deception. The bargain demon assesses everything through a cost lens, not only in currency but in time and peace of mind. Their obsession with bargains often leads to substandard purchases, breeding discontent and anxiety, infecting those around them with an irrational pursuit of frugality. The sadist uses financial power plays to assert dominance, indulging in manipulative games that inflict torment on others. Engaging with them risks entanglement in their destructive maneuvers, often resulting in personal loss. The indiscriminate giver, while offering generosity, does so indiscriminately, craving universal admiration and affection. Yet, their unfiltered benevolence dilutes the impact, leaving recipients with unquenched emotional needs. The narrative of Francisco Pizarro's expedition to find El Dorado illustrates the pursuit of instant wealth's fallacy, where the quest for the mythical city not only cost lives but also contributed to Spain's decline. The obsession with gold led to depopulated towns, neglected agriculture, and an irreparable societal deterioration. Power demands discipline. The allure of sudden wealth clouds judgment, veering individuals away from essential attributes like self-control and goodwill. Lasting change, barring death, isn't swift. Sudden riches rarely sustain, built on unstable foundations. Refuse to let avarice lure you from the bastion of true power. Focus on power, and wealth will find its way. The anecdote of Pietro Aretino underscores the strategic use of money as a conduit for influence. By generously circulating his wealth, Aretino earned a reputation of influence and power. He strategically orchestrated gifts to weave a web of indebtedness among the influential, leveraging these connections to further enhance his social standing. His understanding of money's property as a catalyst for power propelled him to the pinnacle of European acclaim. The reversal in this law unveils the art of deception from the opposite end, the exploitation of others' greed. Joseph Weil, the cunning con artist, mastered the art of swindling by baiting his victims with the promise of effortless wealth. His schemes capitalized on human laziness and the allure of quick gains, exploiting greed to manipulate and profit. His ploy demonstrates the potential in luring individuals with the allure of easy money, creating fertile ground for further deceptions. Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. In the realm of succession, the shadow cast by a great predecessor often proves daunting, shaping expectations and thwarting attempts to establish a new identity. The tale of Louis XV, heir to the legacy of Louis XIV, stands as a testament to the challenges faced by those tasked with filling illustrious shoes. Louis XIV, the Sun King, orchestrated an unparalleled transformation of France. His reign symbolized power, with Versailles embodying his radiance and authority. Yet, as his great-grandson Louis XV ascended to the throne, he found himself confronting a monumental burden. Despite receiving the finest education and guidance, Louis XV lacked the same hunger for governance as his predecessor. His indulgent nature led to a dissolute court life, where pleasures superseded governance. Madame de Pompadour, initially a royal mistress, ultimately wielded considerable political influence, overshadowing the king. Louis XV's trajectory epitomizes the struggle of those inheriting grand legacies. They often falter, trapped within the looming shadow of predecessors. Their predicament aligns with Machiavelli's insight that necessity propels action. When the necessity is absent, inertia and decay ensue. The son, cocooned in privilege, tends to squander the inheritance, lacking the drive that impelled the father. To circumvent this predicament demands a psychological departure from the past, denigrating the inherited legacy to chart a new course. Alexander the Great exemplifies this paradigm. Driven by disdain for his father's methods, he pursued a path starkly contrasting King Philip's. His boldness, expressed in taming Bucephalus and defying his father openly, propelled him beyond the shadow cast by Philip. The struggle against the fatherly legacy often defines the trajectory of those inheriting power. They must strive to forge a distinct path, breaking free from past constraints to establish their individuality. Pericles, aligning with democratic forces in Athens, identified an untapped arena, avoiding direct competition with established leaders. Similarly, Diego de Velázquez disrupted established artistic norms to carve his unique niche. Breaking away from the past involves belittling it, inciting generational tensions, and finding vacuums to claim as one's domain. It necessitates a symbolic departure, akin to Louis XIV rejecting ancestral palaces for Versailles. This symbolic differentiation is crucial. Following the predecessor's path perpetuates the shadow. The dangers, however, persist. One risks becoming the father figure they once rebelled against. Mao Zedong, initially rebelling against his father's ideology, later inadvertently echoed his father's views, undermining Chinese intellectuals. Prosperity breeds complacency, impeding the drive for action. Successes can lead to lethargy unless one renews oneself constantly, avoiding a caricature of past triumphs. The struggle against the father must persist, guarding against the seductive return of old habits and attitudes. Yet, the shadow of a predecessor can serve as a tool if strategically employed. Napoleon III used Napoleon Bonaparte's legacy to ascend but swiftly differentiated his reign. However, overemphasizing contrast can backfire, as seen in Joseph II's attempt to distinguish himself from Maria Theresa. Moreover, one must be vigilant against rising challengers. Pietro Bernini astutely kept potential rivals like Borromini within his sphere, manipulating them to safeguard his own fame and authority. Law 42. Strike the shepherd and the sheep will scatter. In various historical contexts, the impact of a single strong individual causing turmoil within a group has been evident. Whether it's the disruptive influence of a dissenter, an arrogant figure, or a poisoner of goodwill, their unchecked actions often lead others astray. Addressing such troublemakers promptly is crucial, for allowing them space to operate inevitably infects others. Negotiation or reform seldom works with these irredeemable individuals. Neutralizing their influence through isolation or expulsion remains the most effective recourse. By striking at the root cause of trouble, the rest of the group finds reprieve from their destabilizing effects. During Athens' democratic evolution in the 6th century BC, they grappled with a similar dilemma. Individuals who pursued self-interest over the greater good threatened the city's unity. The Athenians devised a pragmatic solution by annually ostracizing an individual through public voting. This ritual expulsion, demonstrated with figures like Aristides, Themistocles, and Pericles, showcased the Athenians' resolve to maintain cohesion by removing potentially divisive personalities. Identifying troublemakers within a group requires astuteness, recognizing their overbearing presence or persistent complaints. Attempting to reform or pacify such individuals often exacerbates the situation. Instead, echoing Athenian wisdom, prompt action, banishment, or isolation proves the most effective remedy. Separating them from the group prevents their insidious influence from taking root, safeguarding the collective harmony. Understanding power dynamics within groups remains crucial. While power structures have evolved over time, a central concentration of power persists, attracting others like planets orbiting a sun. Recognizing this key figure in a group and strategically neutralizing their influence echoes games of strategy where isolating the opponent's power base leads to their downfall. The importance of presence and appearance in wielding power becomes apparent in isolating opponents, whether to seduce or gain control. Isolating individuals from their social context renders them vulnerable to manipulation. Similarly, powerful figures who isolate themselves become susceptible to influence, as seen in Rasputin's maneuvering within the Russian court. The reversal of this principle is equally significant, keeping potential adversaries close to monitor their actions rather than alienating them, reducing their support gradually to preempt any vengeful response. Understanding the Athenian practice and historical power dynamics serves as a guiding principle. Act swiftly against troublemakers, identify power centers within groups, and wield influence judiciously, ensuring isolation from positions of strength. Law 43. Work on the hearts and minds of others. In the realm of power, there exists an undeniable truth. Coercion, however forceful, will ultimately recoil upon you. The path to command lies not in compelling others but in the art of seduction, enticing them to move in your direction willingly. A person ensnared by your allure becomes your devoted ally, a loyal pawn in your game. The art of seduction, therefore, lies in understanding individual psychologies and exploiting their vulnerabilities. Soften the resistant by delving into their emotions, manipulating what they cherish and dread. Fail to acknowledge the hearts and minds of others, and you breed their contempt. Consider the reign of Louis XV and the emergence of Marie Antoinette. At the brink of change, her arrival seemed a beacon of hope for a desirous France. Her entrance transformed the court's mood, shattering the debaucheries of the past reign. Yet, as queen, she indulged in extravagance, oblivious to the country's plight. Her opulent lifestyle flourished while France crumbled. Ignoring her subjects' anguish, she isolated herself in a realm of splendor. Her story is a parable of power. Marie Antoinette's downfall arose from her failure to engage hearts and minds, a trap common to many today. Indulged from youth, she lacked the skill of seduction, becoming an insensitive figure of entitlement. Her mistake is not archaic. It mirrors contemporary characters born from indulgence, who expect attention without offering charm or persuasion. In contrast, Zhuge Liang, the master strategist of ancient China, understood the allure of winning hearts over conquering cities. Confronting an enemy alliance, Liang refrained from force, opting for a patient seduction. He swayed even the most resolute foe through empathy and understanding, converting a potential enemy into an unwavering ally. The lesson is clear. Power lies in the ability to seduce and captivate. It demands an astute grasp of individual psychology, an artful manipulation of emotions, and a keen eye for vulnerabilities. This approach wins lifelong friends and devoted allies, fortifying your ascent to the summit of power. The keys to mastering power echo through history. Soften and break down resistance through gentle persuasion. Seduce minds by appealing to emotions and exploiting intellectual weaknesses. Craft your message to resonate with fears and loves, stirring primal emotions to captivate hearts. Use symbolic gestures and appeals to self-interest, offering benefits to secure loyalty. Remember, power springs not from force but from the hearts and minds of those you sway. Seek to understand their individualities, as each psyche holds the key to their allegiance. In your pursuit of influence, gather allies from all levels, for their support will fortify your reign. The law of power dictates that there is no reversal. To ascend, one must master the art of seduction, for in the realm of power, coercion breeds resentment, while seduction secures unwavering loyalty. Law 44. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. The mirror holds a paradoxical power. While reflecting reality, it also becomes a potent tool for deception. By mirroring adversaries, imitating their actions, we cloak our strategy in a guise they cannot discern. This mirror effect becomes a source of mockery and humiliation, goading them into overreaction, thereby exposing their vulnerability. Holding up this reflective surface to their psyche entices them with a mirage of shared values, while mirroring their deeds becomes a lesson in consequence. Few can resist the allure or the potency of the mirror effect. Mirrors often disturb us, revealing both what we want to see and what we try to ignore. They portray us as objects rather than subjects, leaving us feeling detached from our essence, a disconcerting sensation. Using mirror effects mirrors this disquiet by mimicking others, unsettling and enraging them. Such mimicry leaves them feeling objectified, pushing them toward anger or, conversely, disarming them through a perfect reflection of their desires. It's the narcissistic power of mirrors, enchanting or enraging, unsettling but powerful. The neutralizing effect, tracing back to the myth of Medusa, involves mimicking adversaries' actions to blind them from your true intentions. It's a strategy of mimicry, disarming opponents by echoing their own tactics. The shadow, a reverse version, involves clandestinely shadowing adversaries to gather valuable insights. The Narcissus effect, much like the myth, capitalizes on reflecting others' desires, tastes, and spirit, captivating them by offering a rare reflection of their inner selves. The moral effect mirrors the actions of others to demonstrate the consequences of their behavior, teaching through reflection rather than verbal argument. Finally, the hallucinatory effect creates perfect copies, deceiving by presenting dummies that appear authentic. The tale of Napoleon and Fouché exemplifies these effects. Fouché survived Napoleon's surveillance by mirroring his actions and gaining power by reflecting those around him. His mastery of this technique shielded him and gave him insight, a powerful testament to the effectiveness of mirroring. Yet, mirrored situations bear warning. Like Wagner's unwitting resemblance to Lola Montez, being associated with past events or individuals can overshadow one's actions, often leading to a loss of control over how others perceive them. This serves as a cautionary tale, urging one to sever such associations to avoid being trapped in reflections of the past. Law 45. Preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. In the realm of leadership and change, the delicate balance between innovation and tradition defines the dance of power. While everyone recognizes the necessity of change in theory, in reality, people find solace in the comfort of routines. Too much change breeds upheaval, inciting resistance. As someone ascending to power or seeking to establish authority from the outside, honoring established practices can be a strategic display. If change is essential, camouflage it as an incremental enhancement from the past. An illustration from history resonates the challenges of drastic reform. In the 1520s, King Henry VIII sought a divorce, challenging the Catholic Church's authority. Thomas Cromwell, a key figure, proposed a radical break from tradition, advocating for the king's supremacy and the formation of an English church. The ensuing reforms dismantled centuries-old rituals, causing unrest and plunging the country into a newfound official religion. Yet, the abruptness of change spurred revolts and anxiety, revealing the populace's hidden conservatism. Mao Zedong in 1920s China understood the powerful grip of tradition, especially within the deeply rooted peasant population. To establish communist ideals, he artfully wrapped revolutionary concepts in the cloak of tradition, drawing parallels with revered historical figures and stories. By aligning the revolution with familiar narratives, Mao eased the transition to a new order, embracing the past to secure his visionary future. The past holds immense sway over human perception and action. Leveraging this influence becomes a strategic advantage. Embrace tradition to introduce change subtly, gaining legitimacy and acceptance. The lesson echoes across varied landscapes, whether in political maneuvering, scientific innovation, or societal shifts. Recognizing the innate resistance to abrupt change, leaders tread cautiously. Strive to strike a balance, embodying a bridge between past comforts and future aspirations. The past isn't a shackle, but a tool for building a foundation. Crafting innovations that resonate with historical echoes garners lasting power. The past becomes a canvas where new strokes, disguised as ancient hues, resonate more profoundly, ensuring a smoother transition and acceptance. The key to wielding power isn't just in the grandness of change, but in the artful subtlety of incorporating tradition into transformation. Leaders navigate this delicate interplay, using the past not as a barrier but as a foundation upon which the future is artfully constructed. Law 46. never appear too perfect. The peril of seeming superior to others is always present, but the greatest danger lies in appearing flawless and faultless. Envy breeds silent adversaries. It's astute to occasionally reveal imperfections, admit to harmless vices, and demonstrate vulnerabilities to deflect envy and present oneself as more relatable and approachable. Only gods and the departed can seem perfect without consequence. Joe Orton and Kenneth Halliwell's story mirrors the repercussions of envy. Their collaboration as writers began with promise, but faced stagnation until Orton's imprisonment prompted a shift. Orton emerged from jail with a voice, channeling disdain for society into theatrical farces. His success soared while Halliwell, once equal in partnership, grappled with bitterness, deteriorating mentally. Despite Orton's attempts to help, Halliwell's envy culminated in a tragic end, a fatal attack on Orton, followed by his own demise. This tale reflects the danger of envy within close circles. Success often triggers envy, particularly from those left behind. It festers, brewing silently until it strikes. Strategies to counter envy involve downplaying success, revealing flaws, attributing success to luck, or seeking new connections. Underestimating envy's power is a grave mistake. The Medici family's ascent in medieval Florence illustrates a different facet of managing envy. Through subtle strategies, Cosimo de' Medici navigated political waters without inciting envy. Despite amassing immense wealth and power, he cloaked his stature with modesty, contributing to civic projects and maintaining ties to the middle class. His outward humility concealed immense influence, ensuring he didn't awaken envy's wrath. Cosimo's tactics demonstrate the power of perception. To counter envy, he projected an image of unassuming simplicity while orchestrating events behind the scenes. This controlled presentation diffused envy, enabling him to wield significant power without inviting resentment. Understanding envy's dynamics is pivotal. It surfaces as a response to superiority, often veiled in criticism or excessive praise. Those with natural talent or sudden successes are susceptible to it. Sir Walter Raleigh's brilliance inadvertently drew envy, causing opposition that led to his downfall. His failure lay in proudly displaying his talents without disguising them, triggering envy and subsequent sabotage. Strategies to counter envy involve displaying minor weaknesses, deferring successes to luck, or subtly downplaying achievements. Grathion suggests showcasing a harmless vice to distract envious minds. These tactics aim to dampen envy by manipulating appearances, yet retaining genuine power. The cautious dance around envy is essential. While caution can provoke greater envy, defiance can turn it into a weapon. Michelangelo's response to Bramante's envy stands as a testament. Despite Bramante's ploy to disrupt Michelangelo's artistic prowess, the latter used this envy as motivation, crafting the Sistine Chapel's masterpieces. Each stroke of genius intensified Bramante's envy, showcasing the power of a resilient spirit in the face of envy's venom. Law 47. Do not go past the mark you aimed for. In victory, learn when to stop. The juncture of triumph often harbors the greatest danger. In the heat of victory, arrogance and overconfidence can veer you beyond your intended goal. By pushing too far, you gain more enemies than you defeat. Let not success cloud your judgment. There's no substitute for strategy and meticulous planning. Set a goal, attain it, then halt. Consider Cyrus, who, after amassing victories and creating the Persian Empire, fixated on conquering the Masashtai. Drunk on triumph, he believed himself unbeatable. Queen Tomarus warned him against the endeavor, offering a peaceful resolution. Ignoring her, Cyrus played a treacherous game, leading to his army's demise and his own death. His arrogance undid all he'd achieved. Similarly, Madame de Pompadour, King Louis XV's mistress, navigated a perilous court with grace and cunning. Though her reign lasted unprecedentedly long, she avoided greed and arrogance. When her physical prowess waned, she cleverly redirected the king's desires, securing her position. The crux lies in mastering power's ebb and flow. Success blinds with a false sense of invincibility, making one impulsive and hostile. The adept, however, control the game's rhythm, adapting to circumstances and avoiding predictable patterns. They shun the trap of momentum, understanding its illusory nature. Victory necessitates caution, not inertia. Crushing foes must be complete, yet rash actions that breed new adversaries should be avoided. In the moment of triumph, the greatest art lies in restraint. It's the ability to halt when victorious, preserving the impact and averting the pitfalls of overextension. Machiavelli's wisdom rings true. Either obliterate your enemy or leave them be. Half measures breed resentment and revenge. Caution post-victory is not about hesitation, but guarding against reckless moves. Momentum, often overestimated, only serves those bereft of better strategies. Law 48. Assume formlessness. The essence of strategic formlessness, embraced across cultures and history, is poignantly depicted through the dichotomy of Sparta's rigid society and Athens' adaptive culture, illuminating the impact of these approaches on their respective fates. This contrast extends to ancient Chinese history, where the formless strategies of the communists triumphed over the nationalist structured approach. Sparta's militaristic society, crystallized to combat enemies, ensured stability for 3 centuries. Yet, their fixation on a single form led to a vulnerability that Athenian fluidity exploited, securing cultural and economic prosperity. Similarly, the nationalists' rigid tactics in Manchuria were outmaneuvered by the communists' elusive and dispersed approach, causing strategic disarray. The brilliance of formlessness echoes in strategic games, chess, characterized by direct confrontations, and Go, a subtler, more fluid contest. Analogous to Go's strategy, formlessness entails abstraction, adaptation, and nonlinearity. It champions mobility over entrenched positions, confounding adversaries with an ever-changing, unpredictable nature. Formlessness isn't shapelessness. It's the ability to morph into the form most advantageous. Power thrives when flexible, adept at rapid transformations. The case of Baron Rothschild illustrates this. A formless adaptation to political climate secured his ascendancy while rigid contemporaries faced ruin. The subtlety of formlessness in female leadership, exemplified by Queen Elizabeth and Empress Catherine, highlights its effectiveness. Their adaptability and flexible governance fostered enduring reigns, proving that fluidity in ruling often supersedes rigidity. Size often parallels extinction. Gigantic armies, like Xerxes, faltered due to immobility. The need for formlessness amplifies with age, resisting predictability that ages bring. Rulers, locked in rigid forms, face derision, symbolizing the frailty of fixity in a dynamic world. Formlessness wields power strategically. It obfuscates adversaries' comprehension, maintaining initiative and inducing strategic disadvantages. Yet, formlessness isn't passivity. It's a deliberate tool to subvert other strategies, capitalizing on adaptability and autonomy. The intricate dance between form and formlessness in strategic maneuvers underscores the essence of adaptability, offering a nuanced understanding that empowers decision-making and long-term strategy. As Mao asserted, embracing formlessness doesn't negate concentration. It enhances the strategic playbook, leading to victorious outcomes.